Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Barbarian Banter. This is episode 17, and I'm your host, Dane Miller-Haas.
I'm your co-host, Jonas.
And we are joined by Hexumlite. So Hexumlite is a streamer who films himself out and about in the world, interacting with others in a candid manner for comedic and satirical purposes, which provide insight into social dynamics, psychology, perhaps even philosophy, but we can get into that. It's a huge pleasure to have you on, though, man. You're one of the most entertaining people in the space, and I think you have a unique perspective on a lot of things, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, man. Let's get to it.
Yeah, if you want to give a little bit about yourself, feel free to say anything and everything, and then I've got some questions I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. Well, my name's Aaron. I am recently got into like social media. I went to college. I graduated with a computer science degree. I never thought I'd be doing this type of shit. I couldn't find a job. All the Indians took it. Yeah, dude, so it was tough. I was living with my mom, absolutely brutal. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna express myself. I'm tired of hiding who I am. I'm tired of chasing some pipe dream and shutting off who I am. And I'm gonna do social media. I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm going to live life like I only have one life, and actually do something with it. And here I am, dude. I'm in Florida now. Moved out of my mom's house. We're a full-time NEET, and yeah, figuring it out.
It kind of relates to the first thing I wanted to ask you about. So I saw on you were on with Santa Cruz, and you were kind of talking about how difficult it is, like as a young man coming out of school, and it's like I went to college for business and psychology. I was in a fraternity, so I had that whole bubble. Yeah, coming out, and then I moved back in with my parents. You're looking for a job. You're doing the whole humiliation ritual of sending your resumes and doing interviews and all this.
Brutal.
It's kind of just like you're kind of lonely and kind of lost. And I think a lot of young guys are going through that. And it's like,
Yeah.
sounds like you at one point are just like, screw it, I'm gonna dive into this. But what do you think, like, a lot, like, for the average young guy that's going through this, what do you think he should be doing?
Yeah, dude, it's impossible to say because people have like such a variety of different skills and like backgrounds. Look, it would be like foolish for me to say like everybody should try their hand at some like entrepreneurial endeavor because at the end of the day, some people are limited by intelligence and other things, right? But I think doing things that serve your interest in life are going to be like probably the best way to go, right? Like, for example, if I had to decide what I would do in the next 10 minutes right now, if I could choose one thing to do out of anything possible in the world, I would do something that's going to make my life better in an hour, right? That could be going somewhere, doing something for myself, right? So I think, like, yeah, like the humiliation ritual, people are like submitting 1,000 applications, cold applications, and it's like, is this actually making your life better? Would the more optimal approach be, networking with people? And people confuse networking with like going to conferences. I think that's kind of gay. Like it's kind of like, dude, like it's yeah, dude, yeah, it's fake. It's bullshit. Yeah, it's like you might as well just actually make friends and like get shared experiences, And I guess the one thing I can say is through doing my own thing, expressing myself and trying to be somewhat the most authentic version of myself, I probably have more job opportunities now in tech than I did before, which I probably won't accept. I mean, it sucks, right? It wasn't my true passion. But, you know, I think just being authentic and, being unauthentically yourself in a way that's, people kind of can misconstrue that. Some people have negative personality traits, like, oh, this is me, I'm a dick. Like, it's more like opinions, like worldviews, like experiences, being vulnerable. You know, I mean, I've had people from like Meta reach out to me and be like, dude, like, like, 100, I might have like a startup and you could join. You know what I mean? So I think
Well, the thing is too, like, because you're such a unique personality, and the entire like system of high school, college, job fair, job is to like sort of mute whatever makes you unique and just make you sort of like another cog that fits into the machine to just like make it run really well. And so people strip themselves of their uniqueness to be able to fit those molds. And then when they get out into the world of like entrepreneurship and people are like, why don't I have this sauce that this other guy has? It's like, well, he hasn't lost himself. He knows what makes himself marketable.
Dude,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And like, and so then like you kind of come out, like you mentioned earlier, you're like, I don't know if everybody should pursue something entrepreneurial or if everybody should pursue content, that kind of thing. It's more so like if it calls to you and if it's something that seems like it's the only other thing you could see yourself doing, like, yeah, go for it. But there are just people out there that are like, nah, I don't want that. I want to be just another, I want to do my 9 to 5 and go home and like that, like they
Yeah.
genuinely want that. So it's like, can't deter them from that. But it's important to know that there's an alternative.
Yeah, dude, I was that way, dude. I was like, that's kind of initially what it was. Is like, I was kind of fed that dream of having that remote job for a tech company, living in like a different country, put my hours in, have a good life outside of it, and just, like, that's it, and that was pleasant to me because, yeah, to be honest, I was talking about this yesterday too. I don't like, sometimes having to like do like complex things and solve problems that may not even attempt to solve problems that may not even be solvable, right?
Right.
It might just be wasting my time, right? You never know. And make something out of nothing. It's like not everybody wants to do that, and that's so like I was the same exact way, and I lost a lot of my sauce in a way. Like, oh, dude, I was like, I was kind of like a guy who sat in the library, woke up, drank his coffee, went into class, and like I grew a lot by doing that. I think some people should push their brains. I think like
Oh, totally.
neuroscience, yeah, like people should educate and like eat shit for some period of time. I think like you get a lot of people that are just like delusional because they never did that. And you
Yeah.
see them, they're like 18, they skip college and they just talk to them and they just sound like an idiot. Like, or not even college, but like just education in general.
Life
Just
experience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's like
Yeah, no, yeah, good point. Like being authentic doesn't necessarily mean doing whatever you want. Like we all have like bad personality traits or like less than
yeah,
ideal things about ourselves, and you have to like be able to sublimate that into something productive, right? It might not be school or business or what have you, but you can't just sit around on your couch and fucking say, "Well, I'm lazy and fat and ugly." Like,
yeah,
I just want to sit here for the rest of my life. You can't be doing that either. So, I think part of it is you have to try experiencing things, and then you figure out what's not for you. Like,
yes,
um,
yes,
so yeah, we both did the whole school thing, and I mean, it was a lot of good experience, especially for me, like socially, like
yeah,
doing
I agree.
fraternity, being in Greek life, made a lot of good friends, had a lot of great experiences. Um, School was like kind of secondary to that, honestly, in terms of like the value. I think I got a lot more out of like net, not networking in that sense, but like being in organizations and
Yeah, yeah,
getting
yeah.
good friends. And I think that's important, but I know I don't want to sit in an office the rest of my life. And I figured that out only by doing that. So now I'm like, okay, I gotta find what I'm passionate about and pivot. And
Yeah.
you're not going to figure that out if you're not willing to try anything.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And that's actually a good point is like, like you have to just like do things like people are like, "Oh, like I have no passions." It's like, bro, like, like you'll do things, then you'll find them, like yeah, that's just the only way it works. Um and yeah, like, like dude, I don't regret college at all, man. I think like that was probably like you can tell when someone hasn't been in like a kind of professional environment and having to like conceal certain aspects of themselves. It helps, dude. It really helps, man. It really helps. And dude, I was in a frat too. I think it was like the best thing, dude. Like getting roasted by your homies, like dude, I would wear like Asics to the function, dude. Like I'd wear like freaking like Asic running shoes to like a party, dude. And like they were like, dude, like yeah, I'm personally gonna take you to the store right now and get you some like Air Force Ones or like some like something like more presentable, bro. Like
I
that
mean,
type of like. that type of shit. Or if I stunk, they'd be like, "Come here right now, dude. Put some
Well, that's
fucking."
the thing. It's like those kind of things. Like a lot of people, like make fun of it. Are like, "Oh, you're paying for friends or whatever," right? But it's like it's more than that. It's like people who will like force you out of your shell and hold you accountable for things. And it's the
Yeah,
same. Jonas was a wildlife firefighter, and I also did wrestling too in high school. So that was kind of the start of like team
holy
thing. And it's
cow.
like teams like being in a group of men,
Yeah,
like forces you. Yeah, if you stink, they're gonna tell you you stink and make you, um, clean up on your hygiene, or if you're like dressed poorly, they're gonna point you out. And it's like you have to be around people who are willing to kind of,
They're like a mirror.
yeah, yeah,
yeah, with no incentive too. I think that's true like therapy. I think people get it twisted, you
Yeah.
know. I think like someone doesn't have like some monetary incentive to roast you or like correct you, you know. It's just like out of the love of the game, like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I think that is that I think that's more like I think that's just better than, you know, having to spend like $300 to go to some psychologist that probably doesn't it exceeds you like the 10th person they talk to today. You know, I'd rather one of my homies be like, dude, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, as your friend, like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
So when you kind of like realized this about yourself, like you didn't want to go the regular job route, you didn't want to pursue computer science. It was like difficult to get a job, like you said. What was like the immediate pivot in your mind? What did your mind immediately turn to? Was it content or was it something else, and you fell into it, or how'd it go?
Dude, yeah, no, that's actually like, that's a great question, bro. Because so it's weird. It was kind of like a slowly built up thing. Like, I did get a job out of college. It was like at the startup company. Um, Shout out to my connect. This dude named Steinberg got me the job, bro. My boy Steinberg, I'll never forget. Oh, he actually got me a job at this startup. Anyways, it was absolute hell, dude. And yeah, I worked there for like a year and a half, bro. I was a 1099, so I was literally I didn't even get like any benefits. Like I was like
Yeah.
a contractor. I was getting paid like 60K a year,
Wow.
working upwards of 50 hours. It's pretty fucking brutal, man. I mean, like it fucking sucked, dude. And now it was good because I lived with my mom, so I was able to save most of my money. Um, but yeah, it just sucked, man. You know, and they were always like just doing little things. Like when I finally like I was doing an internship in college with them, and then that's what translated to the job. You know, the translation period took like 6 weeks instead of two, so they were paying me my internship wage. You know, they were just fucking me over, man. You know, like they were just putting me through the ringer, bro. I had no job security ever, dude. I was constantly like, you know, yeah, it was just, you know, I was getting, you know, shit on. And I mean, yeah, there's some, like, guess some good stuff in there. But, you know, anyways, moral of the story is they end up firing me for, like, some, like, Ukrainian developers that they're paying, like, $5 an hour. Uh, and then, dude, yeah, I end up, like, going through this whole, like, job application, like, self improvement kind of phase where I'm like making projects and shit, trying to like max out like my LinkedIn and all that stuff. And you know, I finally land this another 1099 job where it's like contractor. You can't get an actual job these days because they know they can just like, you know what I mean? It's all fucked. And I'm reading the comments, guys, by the way. But um and you know, I think it was like okay, it's here's the true story, dude. The true story. The truth is that I remember I had to have an hour and a half commute. It was in rural Pennsylvania, bro. Rural
Oh,
Pennsylvania. Yeah, yeah, it was bullshit.
it's brutal.
Yeah, dude, fucking brutal, man. It did pay more, honestly. It paid like 90K. It was actually pretty solid, like for like that, you know, at the time. But it fucking sucked. And I remember one morning I was just tired, man. And I kid you not, um I was driving in my car. It was raining. Look, don't like I'm not like some crazy like I'm not some crazy dude, but the song HH by Ye came on. I was driving in my car. It was raining, dude. And I was like, dude, I'm literally like a goy, dude. Like I'm actually like the biggest like slave, dude. I'm the biggest slave in existence right now. Like I'm driving, it's raining, I'm risking my life. My dog's at the house. My dog is gonna miss me. I'm not gonna be back until 9 p.m. I'm gonna be absolutely drained. I can't hit the gym. I can't do anything. And like motherfuckers are like making bread off like, like doing whatever they want. And I'm like, dude, like, okay, I'm better than this. I'm being lazy with my life right now. It also didn't help that, also another thing that galvanized me, I think, was that my brother had passed away and I was starting to feel angry. I was like, dude, like I'm angry, dude. Like life is shitting on me and I'm not doing shit back. I'm not fucking punching back at life. I'm just letting like I've always kind of been a pushover in a sense. I've always been kind of like like oh like
World take advantage of you.
yeah, I don't like confrontation. I always try to like see good in people, like, and it led to me just getting screwed over a lot, like with negotiations, like even with like my salaries and like the shit like that, and it's like I was just fucking angry, dude. Like I was angry, bro. Like I was like I remember I just was so mad. I was like, dude, like I've probably like all these fucking good lifers, man, like, just and they're not even like they for some reason they're just able to like act on their like wants and needs, and I don't feel like internally I'm good enough to deserve more things, and I do deserve shit. I deserve it, like I fucking deserve a good life, bro. Like, and I turned my car around and I was like, because part of me was like wanting to quit too, but I was like afraid of what they'd think, and if they think like I'm this, and I'm like, dude, I'm being a bitch, dude. Like I'm gonna turn this fucking car around. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take my dog for a walk. I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure something out. I have money. It's fine. Like, and we'll figure something out, dude. And that's that. And like, I just did that. And, I hopped on the Discord call and was like talking to the homies.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. You had that like literal moment of just
Yeah.
like turning the car on. It almost sounds like a movie, where it's like, at that point you become the protagonist of your freaking life, dude. 'Cause I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of guys like because they're trying to do the whole playbook and then they feel walked on because you really do have to kind of like supplicate to your employers doing that whole thing, and it's just like you do start to feel like angry. like,
Yeah.
like you're selling yourself short, and it's like at a certain point you get, like you say, you get fed up, and that's awesome though that you actually like acted on it, because a lot of people don't act on it. A lot of people just like take it in and kind of internalize it, and eventually they're just like they just are cogs in the machine. They're worn down, dude.
Yeah.
So it's awesome you kind of switch that around. But then what? So then how'd you get into like this space?
What happened on
After.
the Discord call?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I was just chilling with the homies, dude, talking. And one of my friends was always like, yo, like, you should do like, because I was always like decently like handsome, but like I had room to go, and I'd always talk about like Blackpill stuff, and like I'd always be that guy that was too like would talk about the things and people wouldn't talk about, and they're like, dude, you should like do some form of like content, bro. It's like the easiest way to like, it's not the easiest way to get rich, but it's like a good way if you just genuinely want to do your own thing and send it. And I was like, all right, like like I'll do whatever. I'll do what I want. I'll like post the videos I want to post. And yeah, what was I was gonna say something. I know it was yeah, and also I was thinking about like what my younger self would like think about my life as an adult right now. When I was 12, my younger self now sees me as a wage cuck driving to work. Like I would like if he knew that at the age of 12, if my younger self knew what my older self was doing now, would he like rope? Would he rope max? You know what I mean? Would he want to even grow old? Would he even want to grow up at that point if he knew what you were doing now, And it was kind of like an insane thought. I was like, dude, like, when you're younger, you have dreams to be like the superhero, like Chad, like professional athlete, some like crazy thing, and then that just dies, And I was like, dude, well, like, maybe I can't become an athlete, maybe I can't, but maybe I can just post videos and like You know, like I don't know, like maybe I can do something. But I was like, yeah, bro, like I'm a literal loser. My 12-year-old self might actually like off himself instead of growing up and going through life because this is what I turned out to. You know, I've been bullied my whole life, and now this is what I am. They're all right. Everybody was right. I'm a normie. I'm a wage cuck. I don't stand up for myself. I was so mad, dude, and I just like said fuck it. I started posting like TikTok. I just said whatever I wanted to say, and I was like, yeah, I'm 6'6", wearing inserts, and it just like shit just blew, I guess, and like and then I just like okay, well like I hate living with my mom. I'm gonna change everything I hate about my life. Like, everything I hate about my life, dude. Like like I don't like living with my mom. She's kind of crazy sometimes. Like love her, but fucking crazy. I'm gonna change that, dude. When remember I walked outside, the cold, it was brutal cold this winter. Just whips me in the face, dude. I remember I was like, fuck, dude, like this is actually hell, dude. Like, and I'm like, all right, in 2 weeks I'm gonna somehow end up in Florida, dude. I'm packing my shit, dude. Like I had like 20K saved up, so I was like, all right, like I'm just doing it, you know? And I just took action about everything that I didn't like. I didn't say I was going to do something. I didn't like think it through. I didn't wait for this to do this. I was like, I'm just like, if it is a problem, I'm
Hugh
going to
Glass
fix it.
just tipped $3. There is German word Zuggenra, migratory restlessness. Even birds in captivity years get a sudden urge to fly. It is what happened to you in the car.
Shit, dude. Okay.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that. I can turn that off too if you guys that bothers you guys. I just think it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's funny.
The echo's
That's
kind of wild.
though,
I
right?
can turn that off. But yeah, dude. So I mean, yeah, like so I just started posting, man, and I liked it, and I just started changing things about my life, and then it kind of became like something I do. And look, I'll be honest with you, there's nothing like I really like to do in life that generates any form of like there's days I don't want to post. And then there's days I do it, and I'm like, wow, this is the best thing on earth. It's the most tolerable thing in my life. I feel like the most tolerable thing is me doing something that can, I can speak my mind and like be almost have fun with it. It's like a creative playground, like words. But yeah, it's really how I felt about it. How about you guys? Did you guys have any arcs similar to that? Like, did you guys?
I did have a moment. It was funny when Dane was mentioning that like you had that specific moment. I also had a moment, but it was a little bit different because I was like a shithead throughout high school and just like skated and played punk rock music and like didn't try very hard. I did play soccer for 1 year, so I had to at least have a 2.0 to be able to play soccer, but that was about it. So
Yeah.
I graduated high school with like a cumulative 2.3 or 2.4 GPA. College was completely off the table. I didn't even want to go. I thought I was just going to do construction the rest of my life and just like blue collar, work my way up the trades. So I started doing that. And then I do remember there was one day on the job site. So I guess I technically had two moments. There was one day on the job site where like we were just kind of told like, all right, this is what you're going to do is your task for the day. Like you're just going to like rip this entire apartment apart. You're going to throw it all in this dumpster, fill this like, it's fucking, I don't know, size of like a football field. Not really, but and we just fill it all up with like concrete and brick, and then we're gonna take it to the dump and dump it out. Anyways, 12-hour day later, I'm just like, dude, there's no way I can do this for the rest of my life. I'm fucking 18 years old. Like, I'm not gonna do this for the next 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And I remember I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast that day, and I can't remember who he had on the podcast, but it was a theme that came up all the time where it's just like, you need to get to the point where there is like nothing else that you could possibly see yourself doing. Like you can't have a plan B, and then you'll go all in on your plan A, basically. And I was like, I'm living a plan B right now. Like, why am I living a plan B when I could go be doing something else? So, long
Is that the
story short,
nursing home clip?
what's that?
Is that the nursing home clip you're talking about? I think I know which one you're talking about. I'm
I'm not
sorry.
sure, it might have been, but I used to because like I said, I was by myself just doing like hand demo all day, so I was listening to like 2-3 podcasts a day, just like doing
Yeah.
labor.
Yeah.
And long story short, I got into like firefighting, and that kind of gave me some direction because I was like going to school, I was getting my EMT license, all of that stuff. And then I finally got the job firefighting. I was up in Washington fighting wildfires. And like it was cool because it gave me more purpose. I kind of felt like heroic doing something that's like very like, exciting, but it's also dangerous and like, all these things.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a firefighter when they're growing up. And then I finally got there and then like I hated it. I just hated like fighting fires. There was nothing about it. Like, yeah, it's like exciting at first when you first get the call and the adrenaline and everything. But then you're on the fucking thing for 12 hours just digging ditches. And you're like, what the fuck am I doing here digging ditches for 12 hours a day for?
Yeah.
Like, I think the creative aspect of me, the thing that wanted to like create things and bring them into the world was just being so suppressed. Like I wasn't playing music anymore. Wasn't doing any of that shit. And I had this moment where it was like 4:55. The way that it worked in Wildfire was you would work 5 days a week. You would work 9:30 to 5 p.m. You would take your radio home. If there was a fire that happened at night, you'd get a call on your radio. But like day's work was done at 5. It's 4:30, and we see smoke off in the distance from like this lookout point that we're at. And we're like, oh shit, fire, We radio in to like our like chief fire management officer, and we're like, hey, we see smoke, we can go put this thing out, it's really small. Because of the bureaucracy, you're not allowed to do that. You have to wait for dispatch to call you in and tell you to go, right? And I'm like, dude, we're off in fucking 30 minutes, let's just go put this thing out, and then we can go, and I can go home, see my girlfriend, I can go have dinner, right? Because I don't want to do this shit anymore. And then 30 minutes goes by, it's 5 p.m, boom, we finally get the tones, they send us out, but now the fire has grown like 50 acres. And there's like, and so long story short, we're driving to this fire. I know I'm going to be there all fucking night. I might be there for days. And I was just like pissed, and everybody else in the truck is getting hyped up. They're throwing music on, and we're driving to the fire. Because normally that's what you do. You get yourself excited to go fight a fire for 12 hours. And I'm just sitting there fucking pouting in the back. I'm so pissed. I just wanted to go home. And then my buddy, who's my best friend, who's also a rookie with me that year, he was like, you're not excited? And I was like, dude, it's fucking 5. I want to go home. I'm fucking tired. And then he was like, I don't think you're in the right line of work. And he was my best friend at the time, and he didn't mean anything malicious by that. He was saving me. And I was like, you're fucking right. And I went and I fought that fire, and we were there until 6 a.m. the next morning. We fought it for 12 hours straight. And then we got off, and I went home and told my girlfriend, I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do this. And then I ended up working for the rest of the summer, always knowing in the back of my head, I'm like, I have to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go back to school, and here we are. So that was that moment for me.
Shit, dude. Yeah, bro. I could see that, dude. That pisses me off, dude. There's so much bullshit with like, and that's the thing about anything though. There's always gonna be bullshit with anything. It's just what you can tolerate at its lowest of its lows. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
What kind of stuff can you put up with?
Yeah, like, dude, it's bullshit with social media, editing and fucking dealing with bullshit.
Dude, fucking editing, man, it's the worst part, at least for me. I'm not.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I fucking hate it.
fight a fire for 12 hours than have to edit.
'Cause I'm not like technologically proficient, so it's
Right.
like I'm sitting there like trying to figure all the editing shit out, and I'm like, when I can afford to pay somebody to do this, I'm doing it. Like I'm hiring.
Yeah, you get your Indians to do it, bro.
Like, yeah. I mean, there's always suck in something you can do, right?
Yeah.
But it's fruitful enough to me to like continue going through the suck. It's like worth it enough. In the way that some shit just isn't. Like the return. If you're doing something sucky, you hope that it's like satisfying and fulfilling for you. And if it's not, then it's not worth the suck, you know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, bro, like that, and that's the thing. Like, see, like at its lowest of its lows, it's tolerable and it sucks. But like, when you finally like, do it, you like have those like you post and it's like fire, and you're just like, like it's nice and like, bro, like it's worth it, man. I think it's worth it, and that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, some people want to do social media. I'm like, dude, like, you're telling me. Dude's like, say, I remember I'll get DMs of people like wanting to collab that have like 100 followers, no posts, and they're like, I'm taking social media serious, bro. I'm like, dude, you haven't even made like 10 posts yet. Like, you're full of shit, and you're full of shit, dude. Instead of doing that, I wasn't hitting nobody up, dude. I wasn't until in fact, I didn't want to until I got, So
Yeah.
I didn't think, yeah, dude. I mean, like, bro, it's. Some people don't like social. It could be anything, bro. Firefighting could be that solution for someone. Like, you know what I mean? That could be their moment.
That buddy that told me, he was like, I don't think this is the right job for you. he ended up becoming a full-time firefighter working for the Seattle Fire Department. Like he's living his dream now, you know?
Yeah.
And like that was exactly for him. But he was the kind of guy that we would get home from our shifts and he's fucking reading books about firefighting. Like
Right.
he's like he's the way, you know what I mean? Like he's involved. He's constantly sending out applications for what he's going to do the next season. Like he loved it. And I
Right.
didn't love it. I loved the idea of it. And I was like,
Right.
I mean,
Dude,
but
I,
that's the thing. Some people might like the idea of, oh, I can be an influencer, I can do social media, I can do all these things. But then you try it and you're like, this is the most intolerable thing I've ever come across. I just had a conversation with a dude yesterday about this. He was like, I tried it, but it was the most insufferable thing. Like I could not fathom posting once a day. And I'm like,
Yeah, people don't. I mean, everyone says like social media is easy. It's like, oh, you have an easy job as an influencer, right? And it's like the amount of effort like behind the scenes. It's like harder than my actual job for sure.
Yeah.
It's way more fulfilling, but it's a lot more difficult. And like, I never set out to be an influencer or anything. I never had this in mind. I just wanted because I was in college when I started posting on TikTok. I just wanted a place to like let my creative side out, since I was partying a lot, I was drinking a lot, but I didn't have like an outlet for like my creative and more like
You weren't
history,
wrestling
that
anymore.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted just an outlet, and it just kind of built up naturally. And then when I hit 10K and I got like the invite to monetize, I was like, oh shit, like I actually have some motion.
yeah, you
Next-
got the motion for that, dude. You know what I'm
But
saying?
it's like,
Right.
yeah, it's like I spent like a year, almost 2 years posting like every day, getting like 20 likes on a post. Things would flop all the time. And it's like, if
God.
you're not willing to suffer through that discipline of doing that, it's like, it's just not for you. You don't just magically become an influencer and start
No.
popping off, right? It's like,
Exactly.
but it's not for everybody, and nothing is for everybody, right? So you have to. So I mean, social media is cool because anyone can try it, right? Like if you have a phone, you can post on social media, and if it doesn't work out, if you don't like it, no big deal, right?
Yeah, no
Um,
big deal. No big deal. Just so I can move on, bro. That's why I did it. I was like, well, shit. I mean, business. Like, I gotta like be stressed out and like buy shit and like all that stuff. You know? I mean, yeah. Eventually, when I got into streaming, it was like I had to do all that. But yeah, I mean, dude, Navy SEALs. I think being a social media influencer is way harder than that shit. You know what I mean? Like, imagine like fighting fires all night, dude. Fuck that, dude. Every time fucking coming up with a good video idea and you have to fucking edit that shit in CapCut. I want to hear it.
dude, it's like the CapCut grind, dude.
Yeah.
oh god.
The fear
Yeah,
of violating TOS, you know what I mean? You don't know fucking anxiety, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying, dude? Um,
yeah.
but dude, yeah, the social media grind, bro, is like something else because especially if you're trying to actually like do something like solid, like yeah, could you be like a one trick pony? Like I see these guys with like the Ray-Ban Meta glasses that like they have like a one liner, they like stage content, it gets them like millions of views, but it doesn't like translate to anything substantial in my opinion. I think a lot of these people have like bloated viewer to like you have like a legitimate group of people that like because you have like something interesting and you're not like repetitive and it's not bullshit. It's just when they open their phone, their brains are getting entertained whilst being nourished. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, bro. Yeah, like that.
I do think that like because people have asked me all the time, like how do I or like people have been posting content longer than me, and then they like saw my growth that I had. It's been coming up. It'll be 2 years in October that I've been like posting every day, basically. And people saw my growth, and they're like, "How did you do it? Like what? Like I've been trying to do this for years." And I'm like, "Well, what are you posting?" And they show me what they're posting, and I'm like, "Nobody gives a shit about your day in the life. Nobody gives a
Some people
fuck."
don't have that sense. Some people just don't have that sense of like what other people, and that's why I say like also like being like neurotypical, like because I think differently, but I think I also have a good sense of like what someone would want to watch.
Would you even want to watch it? Because I used to look back at some of my old videos, and I'm like, why would anybody watch this? Like, who gives a fuck? I'm literally just making a sandwich. Like, and that's the thing is most people, they don't they see influencers with 1 million followers make a coffee, and they're like, oh, I could just make a coffee and people will give a shit. No, dude, you're not them. You're not the 1 million influence follower person. And it's like, they don't realize that all of the value that has gone on behind the scenes
Yeah.
that person had to initially give to
Yeah.
get that following. Now you're at the point where, yeah, you can walk outside, you can stream yourself walking from your front door to your car.
Lore,
And you're gonna have,
lore.
yeah, and you're gonna have people. Yeah, exactly. They want to know because they already know that you're a person who has the life that they want, the intelligence that they want, the looks that they, whatever it is, the things that they want in their life, and you have the value to be able to provide it for them. They want to get as much of that from you as they can. But if you haven't proven yourself to do or have any of those things, why would anybody care? It's like, it's value. And people don't understand that social media is not just about entertainment, because entertainment's cheap. You can find that anywhere. You can't find value anywhere.
Yeah, 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 dude.
Honestly, it's like when I first saw your stuff, I was seeing, clips of you out in public, right? Like doing what you do out on the town and talking to girls and just other people. And it was like, it was entertaining at first because it's like, oh, this dude's just saying, whatever. He's not giving a fuck. But it's like, there's actually some value there because it's like, yeah, you gotta showing people how to get over their nerves. And it's like, you can be out in public and be yourself and try to start conversation. And if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. A lot of people our age have so much like social anxiety and, like guys like struggle with chicks a lot in our age. And it's like, I think there's like a lot of value in what you do. And especially like you talk about some of the dynamics of like social situations where you're like, that a normal person wouldn't necessarily like articulate.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this girl's like doing this thing, trying to like.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah,
like,
the average person doesn't like think about that. But it's like you actually have some insight.
She didn't let me hit her vape, but there's a chat. Hit her vape. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's entertaining, but it's like actually good stuff for people trying to see like young guys trying to navigate the world. So
because they think that the female brain is, they either think that it's exactly like the male brain, so they think that women are evil, because they're like, why would they act that way? I would never act that way. It's like you're literally you're a different creature altogether. And also they do think in the more like black pill sense that women are just different from men, but still inherently evil. Like it comes to this point where we're not understanding each other. And I think that that's like one of the biggest, because, like I talk about history and philosophy and stuff, but like I'll talk about relationship dynamics and like women sometimes in my videos. And the majority of times I'm trying to explain, like, you need to understand how the female mind works. You need to understand feminine nature. You need to understand the different psychologies.
That's very interesting because I think actually, so my theory on that is I think men and women are actually very, very similar. I just think society allows women to act upon certain things that if men had the chance to act upon, they would do the exact same thing. And I guess an example I'll give is like hypergamy, right? Everybody talks about Freud hypergamy, right? This is the main thing people are, saying like women, they could have a nice guy talking to them and they'll end up talking to that Chad, and but the truth of the matter is that guys are the same exact way if presented the opportunity and enabled to do so, I think,
Right, of course.
For example, if you have two girls over that you're speaking to, both of them are interested in you, you're going to select, the very best option, for yourself, or content, right? If you had the ability today to collab with either me or Clavicular, who would you have done? And
You.
I would. Okay.
Just me personally, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like,
yeah. I mean, people would be incentivized to go for the motion, right? I mean, he's
you know what I'm saying, dude, and
yeah.
you know what I mean.
I
Like, there's no wrong answer there. Look, it's not morally wrong to do that. I could always just reschedule the day after. Like, you don't want
like
that opportunity.
same thing you just said. Like, some guy with 100 followers tries to hit you up for a collab. It's like, why would you? You've got so many people that are trying to, do stuff with you. You don't have infinite time. This guy has nothing of value to bring to the table. And that's not like a diss. It's just, it is what it is. Right. And I think you're right in the sense that guys too would obviously pick the better woman in any situation, be it aesthetically, whatever.
Yeah, like a lot of guys, when given the opportunity to cheat with like a supermodel, they're gonna do it. You know what I mean? So, and this is like the type of shit they like doomer about in like circles, like, oh, women, they were to, meet Jason Momoa, like they'd fuck him, like, and it's like, if men were to meet, think of what's a supermodel I can think of off the top of my head, Giselle Bundchen when you're in her prime or something. Hey, fuck her too, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real here, bro. Like, I think we have a lot of similarities.
Like, exactly. So like the sort of scarcity versus opportunity dynamic that men and women have, like that's something that's hard for a lot of guys to grasp. But I think that once you do grasp it, then you can dive into the greater psychology of like, okay, how do women actually think? Like one of the things
Like,
that
what do they value in you?
what do they
Like,
value in you? Because
you gotta be a provider, and you gotta have some sauce and some motion. Like, there's no way around that. I think a lot of guys get hung up on the fact that they deserve to have a partner, and they're like nice guys. So it's like, but
And
it's like,
that's
dude,
exactly how girls think too. A lot of girls think that they're like out at the club, they're like fat as fuck, and they're thinking, "Oh, I deserve my man." I just slept with 3 guys this week. I need my man. And then guys are the same fucking way. They're on the Discord call, rotting all fucking day. They have nothing going for them. They couldn't provide if they were to have a kid at all, dude. Life would be hell, and they're very emotionally unstable and likely do things to harm that upbringing. And it's like, but yeah, they don't want me, like it's like, of course,
like no shit.
it's equal and opposite, bro. It's literally just placing yourself in someone else's shoes, I think. It's like, and that's why I say, like, men and women, we're humans. It's human nature that's fucked up. It's not this gender war. It's not men. It's human nature that's fucked up. Men are just as bad. They will go behind their homie's back. They will fuck their chick. They will do all sorts of grimy shit. I don't give a fuck what people say. Men are not saints, dude.
Dude, I mean, obviously, like the whole Greek life shit. Like, you see shit your homies do, and I'm not gonna say I was always the most respectful or like.
Oh,
like, shit happen. You
yes.
think with your biology, right?
Right.
Young man, and people make mistakes, and nobody's perfect, but you kind of have to understand. It's like, okay, if I want someone good for me, I have to play the part too. And it's like, I think a lot of guys and girls just overestimate how much value and
oh my
they
God,
bring to the table. It's like, it's
I mean,
like,
that was the whole theory behind like Elliot Rodger. I don't know if you guys know who Elliot Rodger is. Like the
somebody explain it to me.
he was the guy. He was an incel, right? He was,
he was
guy
like
who was in the
OG.
car, Elliot. Yeah.
He's one of the OG incels. But basically, like, he was not an ugly guy. His came from a rich family. He wasn't like super attractive, but he believed that he deserved Stacy, right? He believed that he deserved the blonde, Swedish supermodel, like, perfect girl. And all he was doing was just sitting at home, rotting on 4chan, like, dude, like, he was not doing things in his life. He didn't deserve that. He was delusional, like let's be real. As much as it's funny, the edits, like, it can be funny, like the satirical, like, he was very delusional, like he would have benefited from having like an older brother or someone who actually gave a fuck about him to be like, dude, like, pardon my language, but like get your shit together. Like, what are we doing here? Like, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, fix yourself. Like, you are literally a fucking weirdo, like he would have benefited from a fraternity. He would have benefited from some friend group that, like, and his dad, the story's sad, right? Because, his dad was, a movie producer. His mom was, some off the boat Asian woman that he, got with. So it's kind of fucked too with family wise, because he, he didn't really have anybody to speak to that could ever relate to the struggles of being, especially half Asian, half white, when your mom is with a white guy. I mean, this is actually a black pill thought I haven't spoken about, but your own mom, like, doesn't want to, like, wants to date white guys. So what does she view you as? Like, if you're her mom, you see these like Make America Great, like, deport them all people that are like Latinas, and it's like dating white guys, you know, and they're like super like I only like white guys, you know. And it's kind of fucked up when they end up, you know, having mixed children because like what do they think about their mixed son deep down, you know? Is it an exception? Is it, you know, I don't know. Anyways, that's a side subject. I went down that. It was something that reminded me of that. I was watching a analysis of him. But yeah, Elliot Rodger was completely delusional. He was completely, you know, he overinflated his self-worth, like you said. And he, you know, he was upset and he constantly felt like let down in his life. And I think more people that accept that they're just normies in a lot of aspects, the happier they'll be. Like I am a normie when it comes to my algorithmic knowledge of Instagram, you know, AI pipelines of my content, like hiring, like I'm a normie, dude, with that in a lot of respects. But if I can do like one thing right at a time, I can make like 3 posts a day, good, you know, like people just need to accept that sometimes they are normal. Sometimes they're not the exception. They're not hyper intelligent. They're not special, you know, like in special in the sense that they think no one else can be you, but you're not like some like savant. And the moment you accept that about yourself, I feel like your life becomes a lot better because you stop putting these unrealistic expectations on yourself and you stop feeling so let down. Like if Elliot Rodger, like I keep bringing his name up, but if he had just accepted that, okay, well, I'm 5'7".
I think he's dead. Did he die or something? What happened?
Yeah, he ended up going on a massacre and shooting people out of anger. It was
Okay.
ridiculous.
I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this guy? But okay.
Yeah,
Great.
I mean, but like you know, I think about it. It's like this guy overinflated his self worth. He believed that he deserved Stacy. Like you know, he believed that Stacy in terms of like a blonde, 10 out of 10, stereotypical hottest girl in the world. It's like you know, like brother, like let's be real here. You're 5'7". You know, you are half Asian, which honestly hinders your sexual market value. I mean, in a generalization, you have no skills that separate you, no status that really separates you. You know, look, you are still a wantable person. There are girls out there that want you, but it might just not be that Pamela Anderson fucking 10 out of 10 beach woman that's going to be going for like this pro football quarterback. Like, you're delusional, you know, like, you know, and once you come to terms with that, I think he stops feeling so like let down, dude, you know?
I
He
mean,
stops
honestly,
feeling,
I feel like it's almost like when you accept that you're not this like super special, super um, savant like main
yes,
character. You can almost start becoming a main character in a sense because then you're not caring about so hung up on trying to get things that you think you deserve. You just do what you do and you naturally like find your place in the world. And then you start attracting things to yourself
yeah.
and seeing the value. And it's like, yeah, you can't be sitting in your car or at home and just like being like, well, I'm super smart. Where, I deserve this. I don't get this. And it's like, yeah, because I mean, look at yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and even from a very purely esoteric, you know, mindset point of view, like if you believe that you are deprived of this thing that you are deserving of, like you're putting yourself in that scarcity mindset where you're like, I don't have this thing, but I feel like I deserve it. It's like, why don't you become or embody the energy of the person that already has those things, doesn't have to fucking worry about it? Because the guy who is able to get any girl that he wants, he's not worried about, oh, I don't have a girl right now. You know, so it's like
And
putting
he's not
yourself in
worried
that.
about
Yes.
failing either.
You're not worried about failing. You're not worried about looking a fool. You're not worried about all these things because you're already confident in yourself. You know you got it in the back pocket. And so it's like the kind of energy that you carry forward is going to resonate with women. And so they're going to feel like you already are that guy because you are that guy. And so it's like it's this weird feedback loop that it's hard to enter, but once you get into, like you realize that's the game.
Yeah, and that's precisely why I believe more attractive people throughout their life when they grow up often are actually kinder people to speak to. You know, you ever make a joke with like a fat girl and she just gets all pissed off and just like you know what I mean? Or like the stereotypical like feminist you see, right? Like oftentimes it's like a chick that is not physically desirable, so she harbors a lot of hatred for men and other women, right? And jealousy, right? The fridge protecting the snacks is typical shit. Same thing applies with men, you know? A lot of the promiscuity you see in college actually stems from people that were losers in high school, like myself, that finally get to college and they want to feel that rush of feeling wanted. People don't really want even the sex. They don't want the physical aspect of it really.
Yeah, it's exactly.
They want to feel wanted, you know?
It's
They
like
want to
it's like you see those dating gurus and they're like 40 years old and they're talking about like pickup game on and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm banging all these 25-year-olds," and it's like
yeah, they missed
they
out on
never
it.
grew up. It's like they're still trying to heal that loser that like didn't
Yes.
get laid, you know? And it's like you
Yep.
can't carry that resentment.
And that aura is horrible, and women can smell that on you.
Oh my gosh, men can too. It's like, bro, when you're speaking to a girl and she's just being a complete bitch, you know, like you can sense that. And same thing with women too. It's like, it's just, you know, the more, and that's why I do believe investing in your looks, and especially if you have a kid, I think the most important years, like people like are like, oh, like I'm gonna, you know, give my kid, like I'm not gonna like spoil my kids when they're young. They're gonna learn hard work. It's like, yeah, I get that, but like you shouldn't make them struggle in their years and have them get bullied for it. You know, like they should wear clean clothes, nice clothes to school, like should look professional. You should, you know, teach them how to be liked, especially when they're younger, because they're going to engage in less of these behaviors that are, you know, in the search of acceptance, you know, because they're going to feel accepted already. They're going to be self-actualized in their own skin. They're going to have a sense of identity that is strong and unwavering, and they're not going to be, you know, just a feather in the wind that gets blown everywhere because they're wanting to be accepted by the group, you know? And that's something I struggle with a lot throughout my life. That's why I like really was upset that one day. I was like, dude, I'm constantly seeking fucking acceptance from people. I'm upset. I'm pissed, dude. Like, fuck, dude. Like, why do I keep doing this? I know I keep doing this. Like, and I was just so angry, dude. I was like, bro, like it's not working for me and it's not helping me, and people just think I'm a joke. And I remember like I was angry about that, dude. And I think so many people are doing that shit, dude, including women. Like, you never see like very like naturally pretty women. Like you see like the MTBs doing it, but like even like that Maddie Kowalski situation, like she's like LTB, MTB, you know, and that's why she's like doing all that for acceptance. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm like, you know what I mean. In my opinion, I don't know the full story. I don't want to like, you know, but what I think is that a lot of these behaviors these girls do, where they go with multiple guys at once and all this shit, and same thing with dudes that are like playing multiple chicks. They weren't wanted as a kid, you know. They just weren't wanted as a kid. That's just the reality of it, you know. And they are impossible to fill that void with one girl.
Yeah,
Because,
that's the thing. It's like once you get that, that void isn't filled, right? It's like that hunger doesn't go away. It's not like you finally get laid and you're like, okay, yeah, it's awesome. I
I'm
got
good
it
now. I got it out of my system.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you have that deep wound, it's not going to be filled by like just vapid hooking up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
you gotta be able to heal yourself more thoroughly than that, you know.
100%, dude. 100%. I mean, okay, I will say, I will concede that if you're able to like, if you go from not getting any chicks to being able to get any chick you want, it is a bit therapeutic. I will say, I will concede that, okay? I will say in my personal life, like, it is pretty fucking therapeutic. Now, I'm not saying you have to do the actual deed and, like, slay max and, like, actually, like, you know, risk pregnancy and, like, all this shit and, like, connections and all that stuff. But being able to kind of, like I said, like, for me, myself, you know, I was deathly afraid to approach girls because my whole life, I have some old pictures of me when I was Rabbi Light. I don't know if you saw those.
I've seen some of those. Yeah, definitely
You know,
complete for sure.
I had some like trauma with approaching women and speaking and, you know, making jokes and being funny, you know, like, and trying to be myself. You know, it was never met with positive reinforcement, you know. So now me going and, you know, walking up to a girl and saying, you know, funny stuff and being met with positive reinforcement is quite therapeutic in a way. I don't have to sleep with her to feel that, but I will say it's made me more confident in who I am and more like aware of like, hey, it's not me all the time. It's majority of the time it's that person. It's up to that specific person. Do they find me attractive or not? Is the joke the joke, like, and this is why some of the black pill can be very good when combined with the red pill concepts. I think it's impossible to be either or, right? When you combine some aspects of the black pill in the sense that, like, you're going to be judged by your looks. You're weird if you're ugly sometimes. It's just the reality of it, man. It's the reality of it is that,
The meme of like the guy who comes and says good morning to the secretary, the other guy, and then she's like, "Oh, call HR,"
Yes,
Yeah.
the AI videos. Like, what's a good conversation starter? Hey or hey, depending on the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
once, and that's a very liberating thing of the black. I think that's one of the healthiest parts of the black pill. I think that's actually what really helped my mental health. When I finally like accepted this truth, I stopped conjuring up some complicated like psychological reasoning that was rooted in just delusion about why things went wrong socially. Like, you can look in a million different directions. Like, oh, you can pick yourself apart behaviorally all the time, okay? But in all reality, a lot of this, like, oh, like, don't start with that, man. You got to hold more. You got to be this way. You got to be that way. And it's like, dude, if a girl likes you, man, she's gonna try to set up the date with you. She's gonna not like play so many games. She's not, and a lot of these red pill guys never. I don't think they've accepted this because they don't accept themselves internally. They don't accept the fact that they are not the best looking guy in the world, despite them being jacked, despite them having muscle. They're bald. Like that is going to hurt your dating. It's going to, like, and like, you. I feel like people need to, like, once you can accept that, like, also I'm not special in my looks, like, I am constrained to some of the normal things. I need to fit into society. I can't be that ultra weird conserved guy that rarely speaks and is antisocial. I'm not the guy off Vampire Diaries. I'm an MTN. Like, it's fucking weird if I do it. Like, no girl's gonna
Dude,
want me.
total side beat. I don't mean to derail, but I dated someone in college, and we watched some Vampire Diaries. She made me watch it, and I was like, not gonna lie, I was like, oh, what is this crap at first? But then I got kind of hooked. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I was like, oh shit, that kind of is an entertaining show. I can't even lie.
Dude,
Total
I know.
sidebar.
Dude, there was this one show. What the fuck is it called, bro? Oh my gosh, it was like this. It was like this show of like teachers in Philadelphia, dude. But like this girl I was dating, dude. Yeah, it just put me onto that, and it fucking sucked, dude. I hated every moment of it, but I couldn't stop watching it. You know what I mean? You know what I
Dude,
mean?
those chick shows got kind of, I don't know. They like get you hooked
They
somehow.
get you hooked, man, because they have so many like interpersonal stories, and girls love that
Yeah,
shit. Like, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it kind of draws you in. You like want to know what happens next.
yeah, yeah, bro. Dude, that's so funny, man. I was also saying, like, you and your homie, you're kind of like those two people that start that like burger joint, like we like like the garlic aioli. Have you seen that meme, dude? The the like the BuzzFeed, like, like, dude, you all gotta start a burger joint, dude, and like actually like plan the meme, dude. I think that would actually take the fuck off. I would eat there, dude. I'd pay $40 for a burger, dude. I was telling him, bro, I was like, dude, y'all gotta open up a burger spot, bro. Y'all, like, that, like, the last thing you see in like Oregon when you like go to like a,
The millennial
like,
burger
we just
spot.
had it's just two guys with the crazy dream, You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a way, this kind of what
is
this,
that.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah, yeah.
two dudes who like, yeah, we just decided, fuck it, we make good shit. People like our shit. We can take this somewhere. And it's
Yeah.
kind of the thing, like, when we're talking about all this stuff, and it's like you too, like you said you were terrified of approaching women, but nobody who saw your clips would think that because it's like you
Yes.
go out and like
Yes.
do it, and it's like you can like look at the cards you're played and be like you can complain and like cope and say like this is society's fault or whatever, but it's like you're not entirely hopeless either. It's like, yeah, you have a certain set of circumstances and things you can't change, but you have some capacity to change and better yourself as much as you can. And it's like you have to go out, you have to do something, right?
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do anything, then just accept it. Like
People,
you can't complain about it, right?
yeah, people give other people way too much credit too, and this is why it's important to like, like laugh at. You can't take life too serious because like people, like we're humans, we're like retarded in essence. Like we're all retarded. Like you know what I mean? We're kind of like animals. We can't read minds. Women don't know that you jerked off 6 hours ago. Like, stop fucking overthinking it. Like, like women don't. You can hide the fact that you're insecure like very well if you just. People aren't mind readers. And a lot of I think in some of these like
Fake it till you make it's real, low key.
until it becomes
What
reality.
it's all about.
Yeah, like you can't fake everything. You can't fake being like attracted. Yeah, I mean you can in some sense. You can fraud the height inserts. But like you you can't like there's some things that you just can't like you can't fake it long term, but like
Yeah.
confidence, right? You can be scared shitless to do something and have a straight face and do it, like and the fact that women can sense your aura, dude, you're afraid, like it's like this that's like the most unhealthy shit I think that gets preached in some of these circles, especially in these manosphere spaces. I'm like, dude, like and if the girl's attracted to you, she's gonna like she might even be flattered by that and be like you, like dude, this whole shit that you have to be some like that's why I think some black pill spaces can be good if internalized correctly, like like once I like I mean, and I also benefit from like a lot. I keep talking about the black pill shit, but like I benefit from a lot of some of the things. I'm 6'4" and I'm white, blue eyes. Like I benefit from a lot of the aspects of lookism, you know. But my behavior, man, like my view of myself, I stopped like man, that was the thing. I think that was the thing that single-handedly like cured my depression that I'd had for like 5 years, bro. Like brutal, like psychoanalysis of myself and self-hate over like people not accepting me because I always wanted to seek acceptance. And then I realized sometimes I still want to seek acceptance because it's a trauma of mine that probably won't. I've accepted that it's not going to go away. Subconsciously, I always desire to get acceptance. I can't just change that and shut that off. I can work on it and make it less obsessive in my mind. But due to my upbringing, I do think that acceptance seeking will be in kind of some form of my life, right?
Yeah.
And
I kind of feel the same way. Like, I think that because of the way that I was brought, like, I was a fat kid growing up. I did not get a lot of attention from girls. It wasn't until I was like 16 years old, the summer going into junior year, I lost like 30 pounds and I was kind of like, a little bit more attractive. And like, I finally started getting some attention and I ran with that. And like, I just wanted to get better. I got way into fitness, all these things. At that same time, though, I definitely was deterring girls because I think that they could smell the sort of like insecurity on me
oh
of
my
still
god,
feeling
yeah,
fat kid. And it wasn't until like I was in my early 20s, like 20, 21, 22, that I really came into myself because I already had proven myself. And so like I now had that internal confidence to go forward and be like, no, I'm not that fat kid anymore. I am actually this good looking guy. I know I'm attractive and these sorts of things. And so I, not to entirely disagree, but like I do feel like that me becoming the actual person that I needed to be to feel like that person is almost the opposite of like the fake it till you make it thing. I had to prove myself. I had to actually become the guy in order for me to actually get the attention from women that I wanted
yes,
through
yeah,
years of trial and error. Like we've talked about in the past, like the antidote to looks maxing, like hero maxing, because if you're just looks maxing and you're just focusing on the outward appearance, it's like where does that go? You meet the
yeah,
girl and she's like, oh yeah, you're tall as fuck and you're handsome and all these things. And then she gets, back to your place and you guys hook up. And then the next morning she sees that you're actually 6'2" because you took your inserts out. And she sees you don't actually look that good with your makeup off. And then she also finds out that you're a fucking moron, that you don't have anything going on and you don't actually know it. Like you've focused on your looks so much for the last 3 years that you don't actually have anything going on in your life. And I think it's like, okay, so it's great that you got the hookup and you got the validation from the girl. That's what I was looking for at first too. But then I
right.
realized I was like, I don't actually give a shit about that or like the sex. It's like, I want the validation. But if I know that getting the validation only means I'm going to want more validation, I'm going to have to look somewhere else. But also, just aside from that, like I realized if I didn't become the person that I was LARPing as, I was never going to actually get the thing that I wanted.
Yeah, yeah,
That
and
makes sense.
100%. And that's why I think some things, especially looks, like can't be like faked. Like you need to be in shape. You can't just LARP being in shape, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't wear a muscle suit and like pretend you're muscular and try to like reframe your mind, so to speak. You know, it's cope, right? You need
It's
to
like,
actually put in the work and get the objective frame.
and I think it's kind of the same thing with like philosophy too, or anything. Like you can read about all this stuff. You can read about how to be charismatic. You can watch videos. You can do all this stuff, but at a certain point, knowledge doesn't get you anywhere. You have to like,
On it, you
if
have to do shit. Yeah,
you want to
like
get better at talking to people and not being awkward, you have to go talk to people. There's no self-help book that's going to turn you into like a charisma star, right?
well,
It's like you have to go apply that knowledge, and some of that is failure. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to encounter hardship and like fail to grow. It's just part of the game. There's nothing you can get for free, you know.
yeah, I think like, dude, like, and that's something I would say this, like a lot of people in this like looksmaxing space neglect social skills. They bring up these ultimatums like, you know, if I looked like Tyler Maher, who's like a supermodel, is 6'5", by the way, she wouldn't care about how I act. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's true, but you're talking about objectively one.
How old though?
Well,
Like
yes, and all
I've
these
been in
things.
a relationship with my girl now for like, almost 9 years. Like there's no fucking there's nothing that's going to keep me like, no matter how attractive I am, after 9 years, you don't give a fuck. Like that's not the thing that's keeping her, because there's 100 other guys that she could have. I mean, Dane's seen her. She's one of the fucking hottest girls ever. And like, but it's like she's not staying with me because I'm like a 10 out of 10. She's staying with me because of who I am, and
Yeah.
vice versa. Whereas like, how many like that's what I'm saying. How far does the looks thing go? It's like
Yeah.
it works immediately, and you need those opportunities. I will never discount how important looks are. But I think the problem is thinking that they're everything, and like you said, you can get away with LARPing the social skills or LARPing the like confidence and these sorts of things. Like you kind of can't. Like
Well,
the personality is going to come through at some point. It
exactly.
depends on what the goal is.
Like you said, I mean, people can cope and say like, "Oh, well, if I was the hottest guy in the world, I would get any girl." And it's like, okay, but you're not, and you're never going to be. Right?
Exactly.
It's like,
This is my
it's like,
point.
okay, so what are you going to do now?
Well, yeah, and this is my point, right? Maybe, just maybe, some girls, like, yeah, like they, maybe, yeah, if you look, he's 0.001 less than that percent of the population, but the fact of the matter is 90% of us are normies. Like I said, going back to that point, accepting that you're probably a normie or maybe upper
Average
tier.
is average for a reason. That's because
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think and so this is what, going back to this cope, I completely agree with what you guys are saying. I'm basically saying that a lot of people in the looksmaxing sphere will completely neglect social skills because the first reason I just listed is they bring up these ultimatums of less than one percenters, and then also they just flat out say like it's all looks, bro, it's all looks, like,
Exactly.
or if she's attracted to you, and it's like, dude, like I said, you can be. I think if you believe in genetic determinism, right? Because a lot of these looks maxers, like myself, do believe in some levels of genetic determinism, right? I think if you're born with Down syndrome, it's going to be fucked. Your life is going to suck. It's a brutal reality of it. I don't know why it happens. Part of that is like, it's hard to sometimes even be religious with that some type of stuff. But I want to talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great.
But I believe socialization is also objectively deterministic in the sense that you can be objectively better at socializing than someone else and conversating and pick up and being entertaining. There's objectively better entertainers than others, right?
some people are more outgoing, more charismatic, and you can improve. I think you can improve in any aspect of your personality, but there are limits. Like I'm never gonna be the life of the party in the sense of like just all directing all the attention at me the way some guys naturally do, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, you've got your limits, and you have to understand that's like
I'm not
you
gonna
can
like
also
Zerka. Zerka, like how he's like always like,
yeah.
dude, I can never be dark triad like that. I'm a light triad. I'm fucked, dude. Okay. Well, he's like dark triad, like seduction, like, and you
Okay.
know, look, man, I do think girls actually do in the short term respond better to dark triad guys. It's pretty fucked up, but I actually do think it is reality. Um, but
I think I know. Yeah, I have an opinion on that too, but I'll let you continue.
I think long term it doesn't really, but it's kind of like that fuck, like like she, whatever. But people
Plays
try to
into
be
the
something they're not. They're trying to be something they're not. They're trying to constantly force this. It's like, and that's why I say like just be like yourself to a degree. Be the best version of yourself. Like get the objective approaches in. I don't. I could have my own style of playing basketball and win the basketball game. I don't have to subscribe to a specific play
Right.
style. Like I can run pick and roll. I can, motion offense. I don't have to do your style of approach, but I can get objectively better in social. And it actually started off as this term called AMOG. It was alpha male of group. It was someone who had the most like, and that's an object. That's people are discrediting this. It's objectively true. You can AMOG other people. Like you can. There could be three people in the room. One person's talking to all the girls. Has maybe it's his house. He's AMOGing, dude. He could look exactly the same. He could be that guy that was fighting fires, has so many stories. Lives out in the Pacific Northwest Trail. Fought bears and shit, and he's just entertaining, right? Fucking AMOGing us, dude. Like, goddamn, dude. Fuck. Like, I'm fucking computer science grad over here. Best fucking story I have is me debugging this fucking code. And this motherfucker's bears and shit. Like I'm getting AMOG, dude. You take the objectively same looking person. I love to put it this way. It's like you take Tyler Maher, right? Because like the exception rule. You make him a complete social retard, or you make him the most socially savvy possible person his genetics allow him to be, which most people are normies for that matter. So they can be pretty good if they put the work in. He's going to be objectively more desirable with those social traits. So it's like, it's a no-brainer to me, and people cope, and it's like,
But I do have, because I've seen this myself, so I do have to put forward that if you were to take a guy like Tyler Maher and you put him and say he's completely socially inept, and you put a guy like you in the room who's also very good looking, maybe not Tyler Maher, but you're socially, like you're good at talking to girls and these sorts of things, I think you're getting all the girls. I am not. I like. I've seen this time and time again. I've seen it through fucking middle school all the way to today. You see it on reality TV. You see it everywhere. The
yeah,
guy who is able to like hold the conversation with these girls, the guy who is able to sort of like woo them with conversation, or maybe there's something about him that's interesting. He's doesn't necessarily need to be the life of the party, but there's something about him that people are drawn to, and you
yeah,
can't say what that thing is.
yeah,
That's the guy who's going home with the girls. That's the guy who's getting the girl. Because like you see it all the time. The fucking handsome guy has nothing to talk about, and then like you put the spotlight on him for 10 seconds, he freezes, and you're like, what a fucking weirdo. Back to this guy. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's
I think
just
as long,
it doesn't pan out in reality.
yeah, I just think as long as the gap isn't too large. So like, I think also like we're talking in extremes here. We're talking about like an extremely socially savvy guy. This extremely attractive guy with zero social game. The most likely option is that he's going to be super attractive, maybe slightly less. Some guy's going to have slightly more than him, and I would argue that just being more attractive, it will get you farther. You know what I mean? Like Tyler Maher with I want to show you who this guy is, but like, anyways, yeah, he's like the because it's like it's so extreme, right? Like like the guy is he completely autistic, like pacing around the room, clapping his hands, being a complete like incel, or is he like like the most social, like charismatic guy on the planet? Like in all reality, most of the time it ends up being someone who's like slightly more attractive, maybe due to the fact of them being attractive their whole life, they haven't had to be really that interesting, right? You know what I mean? Because I think being ugly actually makes you more of an interesting person. You've learned how to like honestly gesture more to fit in. Because you have to pitch yourself to make friends. Actually, at that point, no one just wants
Or
to be a friend.
you have to be interesting because in order for me to talk to girls in high school, I had to treat them like they were human beings. I had to treat them like they were just like other people
Yes.
that I could talk to. And then you come to the real world and you become attractive and you realize, oh, if you put me, who is an attractive guy, next to another guy who looks just like me and is also attractive, but I'm kind of like treating the girl like she's another human being, and he's treating her like she's just like he's trying to fuck her, like they're gonna pick me because it's just female psychology. And I think that that's the thing that people don't understand, or like that's the thing that like it's like, yes, in the short term, if we're all drunk and we're at a party and there's one guy who's more attractive and one guy who's less attractive, they're probably picking the more attractive guy. But it's like, what? This is what I'm saying. Where the fuck does that get you? That gets you a one night stand. What are we here? What are we doing?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I can't speak for your long term goals, but I know, like, I want a wife and a bunch of kids, right? At some point, and it's like, so I you know, if I was only focused picking up, it wouldn't be fulfilling to me. So it's like
100%. But I also would make the argument, though, that if, say, that was your wife in the room that night, the girl you always wanted of your dreams, and some guy had the ability to get that short-term relationship with her, you could never marry her. So I do think it's important to max out those abilities in short-term. Like, you see 100%. What I'm saying? So, like, yeah, 100%. Like, if your goal is to date a woman long-term, of course, you'd want to be that Chad that can pick him up that first night, no issue, over any other guy. And also have some substance enough to continue it. Completely agree. And that's why I say a lot of these Chads, so to speak, can't sustain relationships because, you know, they're too, like, insufferable, you know, including myself. You know, I'm pretty fucking insufferable to be around sometimes. I have, you know, a lot of things in myself that I look back on in my past relationships. I'm like, damn, dude, I was pretty fucking insufferable. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of growth too, right? I mean, back to like people who like cope. It's like, yeah, everyone's got like weaknesses, and you can try to work on them. You might not max out, but you can max out for yourself. And I think that's the ultimate point. Is like, you can try to be as you said, the best version of yourself. That's all you can do. And once you do, I think you will get or be worthy of what you're worthy of, and you'll just have to accept what that might be.
Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, you can be deterministically better socially. So, you know, ideally, you just like work on all aspects of yourself, even the ones you don't want to work on, right? Like for me, I loved going to the gym. I would love working out, but I'd hate doing skincare. I'd hate speaking to people, you know? And like these were the things that you arguably need to change most about yourself are, you know, what are like probably your worst qualities that are holding you back, right? Like, you know, because it's the law of diminishing returns. I could work on my physique X amount, like so much, but like it's gonna, you know, I'd get more returns on investment by, you know, fixing my behavior to become a more sociable person when it's lacking and that's bringing me down. Or like, you know, if I have like, you know, whatever, right? So I think, yeah, I think
here's the other thing too. When it comes to the social aspect, and I can just like ask you straight up, how do you think that how does someone improve those social aspects of themselves?
Literally just forcing yourself into those social situations and just...
How long does that take?
Long fucking time. But
exactly.
quicker than you think, I think. I think quicker than you think.
I agree. And I think it'll also depend on, like, say, it's like, it's a part of the journey, right? Like I said, I started my sort of journey on improving my looks and these sorts of things before Looksmaxxing. This was back in 2015. I decided I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to get girls finally. And so then I lost 30 pounds over the summer, came back junior year. Now the girl in the back of the class, like she wants to talk to me after class and stuff now. And I'm like, this is awesome. So then I kept that going. Then I started working out, and then I started really watching my diet, and I started getting into bodybuilding. And then I just started noticing the interactions with women increasingly getting better. There was no jump that happened. It wasn't like one day all the girls are talking to me and then the day before they weren't. It's gradual, and it happens over time. And you learn to deal with those things as you become a more attractive person, as you become a more sociable person.
Yes.
And that's people expect that like one day they're just going to be attractive enough. A switch is going to flip. Now I'm good. And yesterday I wasn't. And that's not the way that it fucking works. That's why it's like, you know, it's good that you're documenting these things, because not only will people be able to see what it's like when a confident person who's attractive goes up to another person in public and talks to them, but they're going to be able to see your growth from the beginning to today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think also, like, dude, you know, like what I would say too is like, it's a feedback loop, right? A lot of people are better off socially because they've been kind of attractive in a way too. Like they're happier, like I said. So I think also if you are like objectively like ugly, like you have like real like you're fat, like legitimately fat, like you are morbidly obese, I think you should wait to work on the social shit. One thing at a time. Get yourself reasonably attractive enough to where you're not going to develop trauma. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's a fair point. I almost wanted to disagree with you and say, well, they should still go out and get experience, but I see what you're saying. Because
No,
I mean, so much time and energy to invest, and it's like,
right.
yeah.
But at the same time, though, like I don't think that because, like, for example, when I go to the gym, I don't look at it as I'm going to improve my looks. I'm just like I'm going to the fucking gym because that's what guys should do. In the same way that when I go out into public and I'm like chatting up, I have a girlfriend, so I'm not looking for. But like if I'm like chatting up the cashier at the cash register, like I'm not doing that because I'm like I'm improving my social game. I'm being a fucking human being and I'm living life. And those things are going to compound over time. So don't be a fucking weirdo at the cash register. That's what I think is so like it's so this is the and I'm not shitting on Looksmaxxing. Like I have said many times, and I will say again.
Mindset. It's a literal growth. It's a
yes, and it's important, and you have to. It's a holistic thing, but the reason that it's holistic is because these things matter across the entire span of your life, not just in your relationships with women, but your relationships at work, your relationship with your kids later on. All of these things, like. It's going to matter in business. It's going to matter everywhere. And it's only going to compound over time. So you can't look at things like you can look at it as like a video game sometimes and you're like, oh, doing this improves this stat. But at the end of the day, you're a fucking human being and you're living life. And as long as you're doing it well-intentioned, you're going to get better. And I think people need to not doom about like, it didn't work today, so I did something wrong. And it's like, no, bro, you just lived life for a day.
And that's what I appreciate about a lot of clips I see of you and like streams. It's like you will post the shit where it doesn't go your way,
right?
And but you don't let that like stop you from doing it. You're like, I had, this didn't go well. Sometimes that happens, and it's like, that's life.
Yeah, like I have like look, like I think like if. When you did go out and you did like I always say this, like high tier normies and above can do some things that are wrong and get treated good for it. As a mid tier dead average guy, you're gonna get treated at face value. What you do right is gonna be rewarded. What you do wrong is gonna be crucified. If you're an LTN or below sub 5, you could do the right things and they're gonna be weird, right? And I think since me getting better looking, when I do things that are right, I learn like, oh shit, this is like, it's like training a dog, like I'm like getting trained properly. I'm like, fuck, okay, yeah, like good Aaron, here, have a treat. You fucking approached today. You did good, dude. Fuck yeah, it feels good, man. And you were just living life and you said something to someone and it led to an interesting conversation and a connection with a dude or something. Good boy, Aaron. Take your treat. Like fuck yeah, positive reinforcement. But if I was fat, if I was really ugly and shit, that guy probably wouldn't want. Even the dudes don't even want to speak to you. So I think it's a compounding thing. So I think it's a lot of people that get into that doomer mindset are just genuinely ugly, and I think it's like they're not crazy sometimes. There are some examples of normies that are just genuinely crazy, and I'm like, dude, you are like delusional. Like, get over your fucking self. Like, you're gonna have bad situations. And then there's a lot of people that are just genuinely like they could do the right thing and say they have like acid burns on their face or they're just have like a cleft palate and they look like their life is gonna kind of kick them in the ass, even if they try to do the right thing. And it's you just like like it.
The thing that I guess I keep coming back to when it comes to like the Looksmaxxing thing is I think that for like
I gotta take a piss.
Yeah, go ahead. I think that for the most part, when you take like a person who's, let's say, a 7 out of 10, right, or whatever the like looksism scale is, if you take that person, moving them to an 8, how much exponentially is their life really going to improve, as opposed to them staying a 7 and improving every other aspect of their life? Like, how much work is you know what I mean?
Completely agree with that. Yeah, I think I said that earlier. I was like, I completely agree. Right, like law of diminishing returns. You're a 7 already.
If you can go from being a 3 to a 7, that's huge.
Yes, yeah, and if you're at a 3, don't work on the other shit. Like you most
Don't worry
likely
about
need
it.
to
Yeah.
get to that. Yes, yeah. That's like
I
all
think
I'm
that
trying
the
to say right
problem that kids fall into is they see themselves as like, maybe they're mildly attractive and they're like, maybe they're even like 16. Like even if I wasn't focused on like my looks necessarily, I was never like obese, but I was like 215 in high school and now I'm like 170 pounds, like, so I've lost a lot of weight and that's changed a lot. It's changed my face, my body, and all these things. But I think that even going from where I was when I was 15 to today, I would just look different just because of aging, and I would just like come into myself a little bit better if I was focused on looks maxing that entire time. Maybe I'd be like a percentage or two more attractive than I would have been had I not focused on it. But then how much else would I have like missed out on in my life by being obsessed with those things? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, law of diminishing returns. It's like
Yeah. So I think that like looks maxing is good to the point where it makes people aware of the fact that like, because like I'm not a black pill person myself, but I will admit life is going to be different for you depending on how you look. That's just like a truth.
It's just fundamental
It's fundamental human nature.
psychology.
What you're going to do with it, I think, is where the black pill thing kind of fails, because it's like, are you just going to mope about it and you're going to fucking just be resentful towards women for not wanting to be with you? It's not their fault. It's like life's fault, and you can't be mad at women for that. You can't be mad at yourself for that. You were dealt a card of a hand of cards, and you got to play with those cards. I think that like you said, if you're a 2 or a 3, if you have a cleft palate or something, you should probably do everything in your power to like try and get the surgery to fix it, to do all those things. Like I don't have a problem with people wanting to go to extreme measures if your case is extreme. I just think it's fucked up and corny when people are like a 7 or an 8 and they want to become a 9. It's like what are you actually?
yeah,
Especially if they're conditioned in other places.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like opposite of you guys in a sense. I've never like physically, I've never been like unattractive really. I don't mean to be vain or anything. I've always had like decently athletic physique. I was always in sports, all that kind of thing. But I was always very like shy and awkward and like introverted. That's just my personality, right?
Mhm.
And I had to work on that, and I was like, yeah, I did also work on improving my appearance for like, gym and all that stuff, but that was more like, that came more natural to me. But the big work I had to do was personality wise, socially wise. Yeah, it was, so I could have like focused on making like my jawline better, whatever. But it's like the diminishing returns on that was not going to get me the results I wanted. But at the same time, it's like I can't dress like a slob either. You can max out your whatever. Like you should try to be always the best version of yourself in
But
all
if you were
fields.
stuck in an echo chamber where you felt like looks was everything, you probably would have done that. But that didn't exist at the time.
Yeah, or
But
at
now
least
it
I
does.
wasn't aware of it.
But now it does, and so that's the
Here's
problem.
all I'll say about it. It's like
You're gonna think like, oh, this is everything, but it's not.
I think like people like I don't know, like I do a lot of rants. Like people that know me personally and watch my conversation personally have seen me go on rants, and I'll say I hate women for like 30 minutes, but it's cathartic. I'll say it, get it out of my system so it doesn't happen in real life. Because deep down I hate humans. That's what it is. I don't dislike women. I don't dislike I dislike humanity. I dislike a lot of men. I think I've had, I just dislike fucking humanity as a whole. I think it's impossible for there to be like anybody that I could ever truly get along with in this world, I think like everything in life about humanity is just fucked. And I know that's nihilistic. I know that doesn't serve any benefit, but when I speak about it and get it out of my system, I don't think about it in my real life. So like, like in these spaces, right? Like, yes, you have these guys that are like saying, I hate women, but in IRL, I think a lot of those people actually do better off because, they've got it out of their system in the Discord call, like speaking about it in an environment where you can be understood and not judged for having, it's therapeutic, right? I think a lot of normal people, like I call them normies, judge people for like what they say, but not with what they do. Like you said this, but like what are your actions? Like these persecutions of these public figures. You see it all the time. Anybody that is like a good figure in space that's generally liked and famous, you always have these news stations like clipping them up, trying to twist their words and shit. And it's like, like, yeah, I think a lot of people that have just been ugly their whole life, like they have a right to be pissed off. They really do, man. And they're not crazy for being mad. They're not crazy for having resentment. You're not built crazy for that. Okay. Like you saw the reality of the shittier end of the stick. That's all that happened. You saw how bad humanity can get and you experienced it, and you are going to have that for the rest of your life. You're not going to unlive that experience, especially if it was in your formative years. You can't just pretend it didn't happen. You can't just pretend like you're always going to be happy about life, like, happy go lucky. Like, I know I come off as this happy dude, but, like I am very resentful and upset on the inside a lot of the times. I try to be open about that too. Like, I harbor a lot of resentment for how I was treated when I was younger. It won't just go away. It's never like I've accepted that. I've stopped, like, whenever I feel angry. I know a lot of people want to suppress their anger. I just channel it correctly. That's all I do. Anger is an emotion for a reason.
Yeah, what do you do with it? Can you sublimate it? I mean, you did it. You turned that car around and said, "Screw it, I'm not."
Yes, like
Did something
my
with
life.
it
Yes.
productive. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all you can do
Yes.
with your emotions and your feelings is like you might be valid for having them, and you just gotta get them the right way.
100%.
Almost everything can be productive in a sense. You just have to know what to do with it.
I think so too, but I also feel like if you are that kind of person that like you blackpill yourself and you're like, oh, I was dealt a bad hand, so I deserve to be resentful. What does that resentment actually do for you besides make you pissed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the resentment really serves a purpose, or I believe I deserve it or I don't. I just think it is. You know what I mean? It's almost like there's really no viewpoint on the resentment. I've just lived an experience that was negative, and
Do you think that you're like, do you think that you having improved your looks and improved your sort of like status and your ability to interface with the world through looks maxing, do you think that it's actually changed how you feel inside?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's continuous growth, right? Like I said, it's like that dog that has been like abused at the shelter that gets a new family, and like, they get older and they get better, but deep down inside, if someone like steps the wrong way or fucking, comes in the room, like my aunt had a dog that had been like had the shit beat out of it by a dude, like, is it wrong to hold that fear? It can't even control it. It probably doesn't feel any way about that fear towards me.
Right.
It got better, right? Like, so for example, like in my formative years, I was, the laughing end of the butt of the joke. I was didn't have a girlfriend for the longest, and when I did, she cheated on me, and like by like someone I knew, it just, dude, like I just have resentment, and I don't like it. Only comes out when I get like pissed off or I'm trying to be very vulnerable to someone else. But when I do that in real life, when I'm speaking to new people, it usually doesn't come out because I'm able to speak about it, and I compartmentalize it and I channel it into like making content, speaking my mind. I'm so angry at fucking normies. I'm gonna speak my mind, and hopefully they get pissed off and I get good engagement, and I can spread an opinion and just speak about it so articulated that it's just so awesome. You know what I mean? Like you channel that anger into like benefit, but yeah, I think like people are ashamed of that, and then through that shame, because society kind of shames that, right? Like it's negatively looked at upon, like, oh, you have incel hate, like, and it's like, well, it's a bit more nuanced than just Elliot Rodger or like, one of these crazy bastards, right? It's more like, I've kind of been fucked over by the system. I'm not trying to like kill people now. It's more so like, okay, well, I'm upset, but I feel that upset. I'm not trying to bottle it and judge myself for feeling it. I am going to, it's there, regardless of how I view it, good or bad, it's there and it comes out sometimes, and I have to use it and be aware of it in the ultimate sense, not discredit it, not frame it as something it's not, because I feel like it's there, and I embrace it head on, and just use it as maybe even a catalyst for success in my life, or like growth.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have three choices with that kind of feeling. It's like suppress it, which isn't healthy. You can indulge in it and like wallow in it, also isn't healthy. Or you can channel it, and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
I think channeling it is the best option, and the option that society like tries to get, or like teaches the least. I mean, mainstream society, it's suppress it, right? It's like it's wrong, crush it down. But then you can also get caught getting too self-indulgent with it and not doing anything, and that's really where resentment comes from. Is like the inaction and inability to do something. But
Brooding.
channel, that's how you get it out, and get it out in the right way.
And what I'll say on that too is like, I know and this, I'll add to that. I think I agree with everything you said, but I'll also say sometimes it's like even Aristotle, I think, said it's like sometimes it's good to be angry at someone and use it in the right way, and like use your anger in the right, like there's never a bad, like it's never also bad to wallow in sadness. Like for example, like say your relative dies, is it always healthy to just get up and start doing shit? Like you gotta feel like you gotta process it, right? So same thing with anger. Sometimes you need to sit inside and be angry and like, damn it, know why you're feeling what you're feeling, wallow in it a bit, understand why, really think about it deeply. Don't act on anything yet. Don't try to like, because maybe you don't even understand it yet. Maybe this is like the beginning phase where you need to understand that you have something. So there's always a right situation for certain things. Like people are like, be mean to girls, be nice to girls, be ruthless, be nice, be super caring, and it's like, it's the nuance of life, and the intelligence and the neuroplasticity to be able to find that right move in that chessboard of that time period of your life and just apply it. There's no like framework for life. I feel like people are like searching for some like,
life is messy, it's complicated, it's nuanced. Yeah, there is no one solution where you'll just magically figure out your whole life experience, and it just isn't.
Not even if you become a 9 out of 10.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
become a true Chad.
Yeah.
That's the question I'm kind of getting at, is like, what is there a way out or no?
Way out of
feeling this resentment towards the world.
I think it's channel. I think I mean, I don't know. I feel like you might always have a scar or a wound.
Yeah.
But I think you can get things out of life that you want and ultimately end up satisfied with what you get.
Can you 100%. Do that
100%.
Out of 10?
Probably. I don't know. I can't speak for every person.
Okay.
100%. I think like same thing with like, so like this is what happened like when I had a relative like died, right? Like, like they say is like you'll never like be completely set, like fixed of the sadness of that happening, but you build a life that fills that void, and in that sense. So it's like, I'll never like I mean, unless they come up with some technology that can just take it out. I don't even know if I want that though,
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's sort of what I'm trying to get at with all of this, and like, not like, because I'm not intentionally trying to push back. I am genuinely trying to get to the bottom of like, how do we solve this crisis? And I think that at the end of the day, we have to realize, like, in the same way, like you lost your brother. I'm incredibly sorry about that, because like I have a brother. I can't even imagine what that feel like. I lost my dad when I was 19. He was like my best friend. He was my hero. And obviously, like, I at first really struggled to cope with that, and it hurt my relationships with like my mom and like my family and these sorts of things, because I was maybe channeling my energy in different ways. But then like you learn how to deal with it. You learn how to fill that void of like the things that my dad would have provided for me. Like you find that in other things. You learn how to channel that energy. And you can't be like resentful about losing a family member. You can't let that like ruin you. In the same way that I don't think that like the hand that you were dealt from birth about like your looks or your status or something like that, you have to learn how to channel that into something else, regardless of where that ultimately takes you. And I think that that's what I'm getting at with all these things, is like the black pill works to the degree that it it orients you in the world in a way that's realistic. But then the way that you're actually going to pursue those things, like you have to understand that like going from 8 to 9, it may improve your lot in life in the immediate sense, but it's never going to heal things on the inside. It's never going to change who you are. That's only going to come through practice. And I think
it's the white pill. So the black pill, the white pill pipeline.
And I'm unfortunate, like for better or worse, I'm just a white pill person all around just because it's made my life better. There's things that I've learned about myself. Like I know look at Dane's jawline compared to mine. Like I was very unfortunately blessed with this jawline. It's not very good, but like there's only so much that I can do about it. And I'm good looking in other ways.
You got a good eye area. Your eye area mogs, dude.
Thanks, bro. Thanks.
Yeah,
so
bro.
it's like, like you have other things that you can focus on, but it's like, if I were to look in the mirror and think about like my chin or my jaw for the rest of my life, like I'm gonna become a fucking I'm gonna become I'm never gonna focus on those things. I'm never gonna worry about it.
That retracts away from those thoughts,
exactly.
Like,
and I will say for myself, because
but you need to feel that though. You do need to feel that, like, fuck,
you need to learn it. You need to learn it.
I know it.
Channel it properly.
I accept it. I'm not happy with my jaw. I can't just fake being happy with my jaw. I'm not happy with it. I'll never be happy with it. Maybe I get I don't know. Whatever, but you know what I mean? Maybe I get filler, whatever the fuck. Honestly, your jaw looks pretty fucking good, man, from the front. I don't know.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
But regardless of the fact, right? Yeah, like people are like, too many people are like, oh, you should just lie to yourself and like, look, that's bullshit, right? No one can just fucking, we're not I mean, I'm a little schizo, but I can't just lie to myself and say, oh, I love my jaw or I love my skin. Some things I don't like, and I accept that, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't like this. So I have multiple pathways, multiple moves on the chessboard. I can move the knight, I can get the surgery, I can just stop thinking about it, which is another move, castle, whatever, the analogy is, and, find a group of friends, move to a new country, start a new life. Like, I've always said this, right? Like, say you had $25,000 and you weren't happy with your jaw. Or, like, say $50,000 for a surgery, right? Would you rather, the multiple moves on the chessboard are, you have $50,000, you're unhappy with your jaw. And this all comes down to fucking understanding nuance and really critically, like, processing things the right way. And this is just person specific. This will never be completely solved. There's always going to be bad characters that just cannot process things right. And I think that's natural selection in a way. But you have $50,000. You just said you're unhappy with your jaw. Do you take that $50,000, go to a doctor or surgeon, get some crazy double jaw surgery? Or do you take that $50,000, move to a remote Italian like city and create a new group of friends, learn a new language, meet new girls, and just actually, as long as you're not completely fucking cooked, you look pretty good looking, your life becomes bigger than your fucking jaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But see, that's exactly the thing that I'm saying is like, if you, like I've even said this before myself, like I am for the most part opposed to surgery and sort of like external interventions and these sorts of things. But if I was super obese when I was a kid and I lost all the weight and I had like a ton of loose skin, I would probably really want to get that surgery. You know what I mean? Like it would be top of mind. But that's going from like a 4 to an 8. That's not going from 7 to 8. Like I'm at least happy enough with my jawline where I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it and let it consume my life. And I think that the message needs to be that it's like, get yourself to a point in life where you are at least not like literally hindered on a daily basis. And I think the problem can be that some people get so wrapped up in the Looksmaxxing thing that they're like, I have to focus on this thing so much, and they're so zoomed in that they don't realize that they're actually probably fine, and if they just worked on a few other things, like their life would be okay. I think it's about having a more sort of holistic view, and I know that's a lot easier said than done. But yeah, like if you're literally fucked, yeah, $50,000 for the surgery is probably not a bad idea. But if it's really not that big of a deal and it's just something that could take you from an 8 to a 9, bro, put your attention somewhere else.
Yes, bro. That's exactly how I feel, man. That's that. So we think like the exact same way.
Totally agree.
90% of Looksmaxxing is really just losing weight and improving your health indicators.
Yeah, and you should. And I mean, like, is it getting a little philosophical? You should want to be healthy, just to, it's like
feel good.
That's why people find health attractive in the first place. It's like, it's good to feel healthy. It's good to be in shape. It just does.
Yeah.
It's just like, people should want that. Nobody should want to be obese because, like why? Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think
like you find it unappealing for a reason. It signals like bad
Yeah.
reasons. It's like it's just there's certain things, man. I completely agree. I think like for me, even right now, I wouldn't consider myself like the hardest Looksmaxxer out today. I just I take a little testosterone. I want to be it's something that I enjoy. I feel I like it. That's about the farthest I'll go. Like I'm a gym cell. I admit it. I'm a gym cell.
even being like you understand this because I got into bodybuilding myself when I was like 2021. And I started noticing that I always felt like, and everybody has this kind of naive idea when they first start that they're like, I'll get to a place where I'll be good. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist, right? You're always going to want a little bit more. You're going to want to be a little bit leaner, a little bit bigger, a little bit more defined. There's always going to be something else. I train at a gym where professional bodybuilders train, and they're constantly they're constantly like, oh, I need a little bit more of this. Like, I'm literally not going to be happy until I have this. But it's like they're top 0.1% physiques worldwide, and it's like it's that understanding of the meme of body dysmorphia. Like you're always going to want a little bit more. I think just understanding that and coming to accept yourself where you are and knowing that I'll strive for improvement, but it's not going to wreck my life in the meantime,
Yeah, once again, like we can't lie to ourselves and say we don't want to be better, right? Like I don't want to be better. I'm gonna repeat 30 times in the mirror. I don't want to get more muscle. I don't want to get more muscle. I don't. I'm fine. Like that's bullshit.
I want to atrophy max.
Yeah. It's like the pink elephant thing, right? Like, don't think about a pink elephant. It's like, what the fuck? I'm thinking about a pink elephant.
I admit I do, but like I understand that like people around me are telling me I look good. My date, I'm gonna go approach. Let's test it out. Does my body look good? Like maybe approach an old woman on the street and be like, knowing like I'm suffering from like no, I don't even say that. Just be like, do you think I have a good gym? Like what I mean? Collect some data here. See how's your dating life? And then from there like process it. Understand it's a very slippery slope. Really realistically think about it and like just try to formulate some form of honestly like escapism in a way. Like you accept it, but like how can you make a life that's more interesting so you don't think about that bullshit? There's and when you do think about it, understand that like okay, yeah, like this is just my retard brain being retarded. Yeah, bro, dude, I think this is tough. I don't know how much time I got left. I know it's like a little late for me, but I guess before I go, I want to ask you, dude, like the fucking medieval. Wait, do you mind if I get some coffee real quick and like some water?
Oh, please go
No,
ahead.
yeah.
We were thinking really quick anyways, and then jumping into some fan questions.
And we got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We might not have time to get them all, but I think we can pick out some of the best ones.
Pick out the ones that are completely relevant to Aaron. And then if we need to, we can save those for future episodes. The ones that are like more generally directed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna stretch a little bit.
We're going to have to edit out a few words.
You think they have to be chopped completely?
Do you want people to know that that was said on the podcast?
I don't think it's a huge deal. Personally, I don't know. We can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yo, what up? How's it going, guys? I'm gonna honestly stand up at my desk. Dude, I got this like standing desk thing.
Dude, standing desks are a game changer.
Yeah. I was like tired when I first joined the call, but then the interesting combos brought me to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens a lot, honestly.
I've been suffering from like sleep apnea, dude, because basically the girl I've been talking to tells me that I've like been fucking snoring. It's like waking up. It's brutal.
I don't know if you've tried nasal strips.
I tried them,
I get strips and I get better sleep, and I'm like, damn, I might have some kind of like, what do they call it? Where you're like
Deviated.
deviated stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting a septoplasty actually, but that's not for looks. It's just to literally fix my sleep so I can like
Right.
mentally be clear.
Yeah,
And, like,
sleep apnea can be like, I think in extreme cases, I think people can like die from it.
yeah. Oh, heart attacks, like arrhythmias, like cortisol, like it's gonna like raise your blood pressure. It's just gonna kill you quicker. And your IQ. Like they gave this guy with Down syndrome, like a expander for Nasian to get better sleep because he had obstructive sleep apnea. His IQ increased by like 10 points.
Wow, that's insane.
More oxygen to the brain, like better. It's like when people take like anabolic steroids, right? Like they get more nutrients to the muscles, the partitioning, the androgens go there, right? Same thing with like the oxygen to the brain. You're it's like the car when you like push on the gas cylinders, I guess. Like you need like the combustion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
We're kind of back. Yeah, I mean, because we've already been going almost 2 hours. We usually go like an hour and then like half an hour in questions. But I guess first you said you had a question for us, and then I can go in. I'm not going to do all the questions we got. I'm just going to do the ones that are like most relevant for you specifically.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. You guys. Yeah, guys, ask me questions that you want to ask. I know you guys asked earlier, but it's been lost in the chat. I've been reading your chats. I just literally have been just like looking up. When I look up like this, I have the phone out with the chat right there.
No worries. We did a live stream recently, so we're familiar with how hard it is to try and keep up with it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you all can start honestly, and then I'll like.
Cool.
Okay. Santana Saint asks about your metaphysical beliefs. I'm not sure how you want to interpret that question.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it changes based on how I feel, TBH. Like, I think, depending on if I'm angry or upset, my metaphysical beliefs can be greatly, influenced. I don't think I feel one way about life all the time. I think it varies rapidly. And I think actually that stems into using your curses as gifts. I am fully aware of the fact that I am way more neurotic than most people. And a lot of people, I'm going on a side note here, but a lot of people are very neurotic and try to put themselves in a position where they need to be very stable all the time, right? For example, they put themselves in this, say you need to be like the operating room manager for an emergency room. Like being neurotic probably isn't the best thing. You probably need to be like calculated and basically emotionless, then you can operate best in stressful situations.
A lot of surgeons are like literally sociopathic.
Literally, yes.
Yeah, their job.
And me being neurotic, I can at 3 a.m. Speak straight bars about some crazy subject of like, metaphysical realm that I'm feeling at that moment in time and I think about, It's not exactly the truth, like it's not exactly bullshit, it's more so influenced by my emotions. So, is everything meaningless? Well, maybe if I'm like really down in the dumps, it might be meaningless for an hour and then I might find some meaning and then that meaning was bullshit. I don't know. It's constantly changing, I guess that's the way I'll put it.
There you go.
Good answer. Leo Jack asks, "Is it true all your hair is from Turkey?" I don't know.
No, dude, no, I never got a hair transplant. No, I'm sure, guys. Over, dude, is it over? I don't know. Are we balding, bro? I think we're doing good.
Good, bro.
The Norwood Reaper isn't coming.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, no, I am taking dutasteride for my hairline. It's a DHT blocker, prevents balding. Especially where I was on anabolic steroids, that is something you got to watch out for. But yeah, no, this hair is legit, bro. This is real lion's mane.
Nice. Brodo 83 asks, "Would love to have a more realistic and effective gym schedule. Any advice?"
Holy shit, I'm not the person to ask about that. I mean, when I didn't have many, when I didn't have many like things to do on my plate, I was really consistent with the gym. Like even with college, I was always like really good. Now I've been like the most inconsistent I've ever been. So um, I don't know. I would say go early. Dude. The later you go, the worse your workout's going to be. The more it's going to keep you up at night. I think you want to go earlier on in the day.
I mean, yeah, it's like because he's asking for more realistic and effective, and it's like, well, I don't know what your schedule is or like what you have to do in life, so I don't know how to answer it
Oh,
properly. But
well,
it's just like,
you know what? I think switch to 2 sets of every workout. Jeff Nippard was talking about that. Instead
dude,
of doing,
I've been doing 2 sets
Same.
for
yeah,
for a long time now. Dude, it's people overcomplicate the gym so much. I feel like it's just like do the basic effective shit.
just do
You
it
don't have to spend your
consistently.
whole life in the gym, but you don't have to do all these crazy freaking variations and all this stuff. It's like, and of course, if you're like a bodybuilder, right, you need to lock in your training more than an average guy who just wants a decent physique. But yeah, I think people spend too much worry on like how they should go to the gym. And it's just like go to the gym and work hard, do the fucking exercises.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just work out, bro.
Yeah.
Just work out, bro. You'll look like me. You don't have to take steroids. Chicken and rice, bro.
Okay. All right. This one says to ask you. George says, ask Hexum what he thinks about Byzantine history. Do you know anything?
Dude, I don't know shit about Byzantine fucking history. Is that fuck, wait, can I get like a quick little reminder of what the Byzantine Empire, where that was? Was that like modern day Turkey? Or am I
Basically.
retarded? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Yeah. It's the eastern half of the Roman Empire when the
So
West
this was like
fell.
the Sultans. They had like fucking like this is like the Islamic fucking part of like Rome, right?
They got conquered by the Muslims
So they
basically.
became the Ottoman Empire, but the Byzantine Empire was the Eastern Christian Roman Empire.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why Constantinople is in modern day Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know much, dude. I think it's actually pretty fucking interesting though.
Yeah. I will get a little kind of related anecdote. A Byzantine emperor did say, "You soldiers need to look good, like their dress. They need to have like colors and shit, so they feel more confident in battle." And it
Yeah,
was like something he like said, like get your troops like freaking
drip them
plumes
out.
and capes and shit. Yeah, drip them out. And it literally makes them better soldiers. So that goes for something, right? Like you put on a nice shirt, you feel better than you do when you throw on a freaking hoodie, right?
Yes, 100%, dude. 100%. It's like look good, feel good, dude. Yeah, dude, I really want to go to Turkey, bro. Turkish girls are kind of hot.
Dude, we might make a pit stop in Turkey.
We might.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're
100%.
going on a trip this summer in Kyrgyzstan, and Turkey's one of the options to fly into.
Maybe. Anyways, yeah, I'm ready. Let's keep them coming, bro.
Zach Bandy asks, what's the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome?
Shit. Um, it's really not just one thing. I guess. I mean, there's so many new obstacles, bro. Dude, I don't even think that's like.
Maybe there's a theme to the obstacles.
Yeah, I don't. The theme, I guess, is like usually it's something that's like mentally or physically affecting me, and it spills over to other capacities and prevents me from doing what I want to do in life. So maybe like socially, I thought certain things, and that like prevented me from physically obtaining what I wanted, which was like physical connection or something, or other things with like concentration. Dude, that's such a. I really don't have one particular thing that I was like my biggest. Because I've had real like so many problems throughout my life. It's impossible because all of them felt like the worst at the time, you know. So it's
Right.
like, I don't think objectively. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many. I think there's so many to count. I think,
We covered a couple throughout the episode too, so that question was kind of answered. I was just curious if maybe you had like a single event,
yeah, and
but
I think also like it's important to be aware of the fact that like whenever you do encounter an issue, like right now, my current issue is sleep apnea and getting into the kick clipping program and these little things that seem like the biggest deals to me right now. Um, that if you were to present these issues to me like 4 years ago, I'd been like, dude, bring them. Like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't.
yeah,
So it always feels like it always feels like fucking. It always feels like the worst of the worst. Like at that time, based on what your life is like. You know what I mean?
do
Yeah.
you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. Where it's like hard to see like the forest for the trees when you have a problem. It feels like biggest thing, and there's always going to be a new problem, right? I guess for me, like generally speaking, I'd say the biggest thing I've had to get over is like analysis paralysis, or like just overthinking, not taking action. That's been like something
Yeah.
where you
It's
see
huge.
like symptoms in a lot of the issues I've had in life, and just overcoming that in general has done the most for me. But
Yeah. And don't we all like? I feel like there's not one person on this planet that doesn't do that in some regards to some things, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, human nature. Yeah, if we want to like think about things and make the best choice, sometimes it's just better to act. And however you can teach yourself to do that,
yeah.
retard max a little bit, and just
Yeah.
intuition max. I like to say intuition maxing.
Yeah, no facts though, dude. Like, I think like just being retarded is like kind of a science in a way. Some people think being retarded is like just getting into fights and drinking and being retarded, but being actually retarded is, you know, embracing that you are a retard, if that makes sense, and living life according to the fact that you're not trying to mess your life up sometimes, but sometimes you don't know what you're doing if it's going to be the right call. And it's best to just live like a retard and just do what you think, like what your heart is telling you, and just be a retard. I guess that's the way I can explain it. Just like it's not doing destructive things. It's doing things that without overthinking them and like within reason, you need to think about the consequences of your reacting. I mean, of what you're doing. You need to think about the consequences. You need to be aware that, hey, you jump off a fucking bridge, you might die. Don't do that. But like, in terms of like, should I text this person and ask for this opportunity? I mean, look, they're gonna think I'm such an idiot. Maybe I should wait till like just be a retard. Like, send the text. Hey, I'm that guy. Like I'm a retard. I don't know. Yeah. Look at some of my stuff. Um, what's your guys' main goal in
Shoot, that's a big question.
life?
Um, I guess to leave a legacy. I mean, it sounds cliche, but like legacy can be. I mean, first for me, it's having a family. It's having kids, doing my part, raising them well to continue that on, and in a way, continue my parents' legacy, right? Also, I mean, the whole reason, like content and everything, it's like chance to leave a positive mark on the world. So that's my, I guess, overarching goal. But it's that comes through living life and pursuing your passions to a degree, I think. So
Yeah, you want to be remembered. You know what I mean? 100%, perfectly masculine, understandable. Like, I mean, that's like, I think that's biology almost in a way. You want
yeah,
to be notable. You want to be,
society wants
yeah,
to demonize that impulse as like self. It's like no, that's like biologically men want to leave their mark on the world, and that's okay, and that's uh, the way we're supposed to be, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. What about you? Um,
I mean, the answer is kind of similar. Like Plato talks about in the Symposium, they're talking about what the nature of love is and like where love comes from. It's like such a deep thing. But at the end of the day, they kind of come to this conclusion that like we all are striving to give birth physically and spiritually to different like outlets. And the one way that like a man can give birth in the world is by bringing something into the world that leaves a lasting legacy, in the same way that a woman brings children into the world and leaves a lasting legacy that way. So of course, like you want to be remembered, and one of the best way to be remembered is to leave a legacy of children who will carry on your memory and hopefully carry on some of like your aspects and traits and accomplishments and that sort of thing. But I think the one way that I really want to be like remembered is in the same way that people have left a mark on me in my life and have like catapulted me into different realms of my life and inspired me to do new things. I want to also be that inspiration for people where when they look back and somebody else in 20 years is like, yo, what got you into content, or what got you into history and made you want to do this? What got you to change your outlook on life and pursue this thing? And if they could say like, oh, I saw a video from Jonas Kilker, like that's
Dude,
everything.
those hit different. Those DMs hit different, bro.
When I get the DMs when people are like, oh, you made me want to start going back to school again, or you made me want to get into this, and I actually quit my shitty job and I started pursuing this. I'm like, it's the fucking coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, bro, you got a real like impact on the world. I mean, yeah, what I'll say about leaving a legacy is I think it's futile. I think like at the end of the day, even like Genghis Khan, it doesn't fucking matter. No one's thinking about him on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
know what I'm talking about.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
probably too much.
Even arguably the most influential people of all time, like, rarely are like even really thought about in day-to-day life. So I try not to put too much pressure on myself to leave a legacy. I guess like during this life, I want to be like notable, but I kind of understand the reality of the fact that like, you know, even like people like Henry Ford or like these notable figures that you hear about maybe once every week, or you know, I mean, there's a couple of people that are notable. I mean, but a lot of these notable people you talk about, you know, like even guys like Uncle H, you know, it's only been 100 years, you know, it's not even been 100 years, you know, imagine 1,000 years go by, like no one's going to be speaking about him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the amount of change that was imparted on the world and the way that the world has changed and like the reality that we live in that was shaped by those people, like you think about the fact that like for example, I know this is like a random example, but like the Viking invasions into England, the fact that the English were able to fend off the Vikings is the reason that today we speak English and not Danish. And so like that's an incredible thing to point back to and be like King Alfred the Great made it so that everyone in the Western world speaks English instead of Danish. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you
pretty
might know
cool.
who Alfred the Great is. You might not know exactly, you might not think about his name every single day, but the legacy that he left behind is literally felt by everybody, whether they like it or not.
Holy shit, yeah, that's pretty, I didn't think of it that way, actually. That's kind of, might stand corrected, honestly, man. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess, yeah, I'm thinking about legacy in a very simplistic term, like people will remember my name, you know, like I'm
You
David.
can't look at it that way because you got to think about like
Yeah.
Homer. You know, Homer, we still read the Iliad and the Odyssey every single day. Christopher Nolan is making a blockbuster movie about this story that this guy wrote over 2,500 years ago. Like, that's fucking insane. And
Yeah.
then it's to this point where people are like, he's so legendary, he's left behind such an insane legacy. Did this guy even exist, or is he a myth? It's like, could you imagine becoming the kind of guy who's so insane that people are like, did that guy even exist? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
incredible. Shakespeare, same thing.
Oh yeah, the word giant was created by as an adjective by Shakespeare from like he created like 1,000 new words. People are
Yeah.
all saying like, oh, you know, there's so many new words being added to English, maxing, jester maxing, all this shit. Dude, this might actually be like a renaissance period for, you know, the English language, bro. You know,
Yeah,
like in Shakespeare, the word
Yeah.
giant, like as an adjective, like he's giant, like, you know, that ass is giant, you know, like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of Shakespeare, because a giant was a mythological creature and he experimented and called something giant and it just stuck, you know. So this like new lingo that we're hearing on a day-to-day basis is actually very analogous to like that type of, there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn to that time period in the creation in the English language. So, hey, I mean, like, gesturing, that's been a word, I guess. I don't know, but I'm trying to think, dude. Like, I'm
trying
trying
to
to
come back
think.
into relevancy in a way, though. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's medieval jesters, but then like now jester maxing is like it's like almost like re-entered.
Jester
Hard.
maxing. It's like a real word now. Like that is like a word I would use to say to someone. Like it's jester maxing. What's the better alternative? Can you give a better alternative to that word jester maxing? I think jester
Like
maxing.
in the specific sense that it means, I don't think. I mean, there's like adjectives for being like silly or goofy or like.
But they don't hit that same like encompassing.
There's a specific connotation.
Yes.
And that's what language is about, right? It's like
we're trying to create symbols that more better articulate the ideas that we're trying to
exactly.
Jester maxing is a new word. It's probably going to stick for like the next 100 years. I bet jester maxing is actually a word that like is like. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be around for a long time, but hey, I think gesturing might be a word that is brought back into circulation. I'd say gesturing is going to be. I think kids that are 12-year-old are going to be like, stop gesturing. That would not have been a thing.
I was at
that's what they used to say.
At like Starbucks or something, and these girls, I don't know how old they're probably in high school, maybe college, and they were talking about like mogging. Yeah. And I was like, it was like a culture shock of like
mog. Yeah.
Now everyone knows this word.
Yeah.
Like freaking that Olympic figure skater or whatever. That
Alyssa,
yeah. And she was like, I just want a mog. It's like, it's just so fascinating how language can spread and like totally change culture.
Yeah, dude. Like I mean, and that's why I say people are like, oh, like humanity's descending. I'm like, that's honestly kind of like, this is actually like revolutionary. This is like actually a really good thing for the English language. Actually, this is like. I mean, depending good or bad, depending on how you look at it in terms of traditionality and like the change of the language, but that just means that it's like similar to that period where there was plays and operas and shit, and you were kind of like Shakespeare was like right around the end of the Dark Ages, right?
Yeah, and in the Middle Ages, yeah.
So we were kind of in this dark age of like, people work in cubicles and shit, and everybody's not giving a fuck. They're like focusing on looks. They don't want to work a shit job, be fat and ugly, and like hate their life. So it might be like a Renaissance period. Maybe we were in the Dark Ages, due to the Industrial Revolution, and now this whole looks.
I highly recommend people go check out the channel Medieval Mindset. He makes a lot of great videos where he draws these comparisons to how we are doing exactly what we did in the Middle Ages, just in a different sense. And we, like you mentioned, like, oh, the people aren't going to the opera or the plays anymore, but they're watching it on Netflix, and it's having an impact on what you're doing. They're watching it on YouTube, So it's like these things all still exist. They just exist in different avenues. So
yeah.
He also says we're going into a renaissance too. I feel like we are going into a renaissance.
I think we are, bro. I think, dude, if you go on these like fucking like Instagram posts, like, boo, I read something this morning. Kash Patel is investigating. Not even getting political here, but Kash Patel is investigating, record labels for King Von, and it's like everybody's commenting like, what about the missing scientists? Everybody's starting to be like, I feel like everybody's like, this shit's bullshit. Like, we're just like, everybody knows. It's common knowledge now that everything's bullshit. It's common knowledge now that working a job's bullshit. You have to be literally sub average IQ to actually still subscribe to the standard belief in society. I actually think a lot of people that still have really faith in the traditional system are actually they're disadvantaged intellectually.
Yeah, I mean it's like talking to like boomers, right? It's like in their time the news was like an objective source of truth.
Yes.
But now we all know it's like there is no good news source. It's all like spun and half truth and shit.
It's all
and it's
bullshit.
like older people have trouble like processing that because that's not the reality they grew up in, but it's what we're growing up in. And it's like, yeah, I think there's a huge cultural change going around of like how we interact with the information that we receive.
Yeah, I think people are like truly like embracing like expression. You don't want to become too individualistic of a society, then you lose a social fabric. That's why I also believe religion is a net positive for a society, because I do believe it, embraces a social fabric, and I think that's why a lot of European nations flourished, and other even Arabic, Islamic nations flourished, in that sense. I guess where I'm going is like, yeah, like, like I think motherfuckers in like the 70s and 80s, I mean, I don't know, like it's weird because like they kind of had a decent life too. Like shit was like, so simple. But yeah, like motherfucker working in corporate for 50 years, like he's a fucking serf. Oh my God, sorry, I'm getting a lot of texts. But you know, Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry. Dude, yeah, but like that motherfucker's like, working the lands like for his whole life, And that's the dark ages, man. That's there's no like life, there's no introspection, there's no growth intellectually. Your soul is crushed. When you're able to like be a neat. That's why I think neat culture is so huge, dude. Neat culture is fucking huge. It's gonna change like everything, bro. Like it's people are just like, look, it doesn't even make sense to work. It really is actually more dangerous to try and like get a job. Like you're going to like put yourself at an increased chance of failure by trying to play the normal route. You're actually more likely to make it posting videos on social media. Actually, logically speaking, if you post 6 videos a day for fucking 4 years, it's gonna fucking something's gonna pop as long as you're not a retard. Like
Maybe especially if you are.
yeah, and then you'd be surprised. But hey, if it's not social media, maybe it's fishing, maybe it's doing something you like. But this like become a lawyer or become a doctor, become a engineer is just bullshit. It's bullshit and it sucks, man. It's literal like slavery, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be a good note to end on, kind of this whole brave new world we're entering. We have some more questions and stuff, but it's almost getting on 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know. We've been talking, dude.
Yeah,
We've been
I
yapping.
gotta hit the road soon because I still have a job to make tomorrow in Vegas. So
Yeah.
I gotta
Jonas, let me
back.
follow you on Instagram. Do I follow you on Instagram?
You definitely do on my account. I'm not sure about Jonas's, but
My Instagram's low-key shadow banned right now. I had to create a new one too.
that's why I reached out on TikTok because I saw that you were like giving Instagram a break.
I created a new one. I created Hexumlite_bull. The bull market. The bull market. All right. I just followed you, Jonas. Nice,
There
bro.
you go. Yeah.
You're status mogging me, dude. This, bro. Dude, great combos, guys.
Yeah.
Man.
Appreciate you coming on. It's awesome to get a new perspective. I mean, we usually, we've had a lot of different guests, but we usually talk about like history and stuff. So getting a totally like new perspective is awesome, and I think we had a really valuable conversation. And I hope your viewers on your end enjoyed.
Yeah.
We're gonna edit this up, get some clips, and you can like clip and all that, of course, too. But yeah, we're gonna upload this on our YouTube. But yeah, it was a real pleasure having you on, and I hope we continue to like talk. And if I'm ever out in Florida, I will be out in Florida at some point. Yeah, we should definitely do something else. So
Yeah. Real quick before you go, do you know who Chud the Builder is? Have you heard that guy?
dude. Yes,
Dude,
I've been approached IRL about him. Yes, I do.
Holy crap, dude. That's wild, dude. That's wild stuff, bro.
I've been asked, not if I was him, but if I knew him.
You
Like,
look like him, dude. Like both you got like the beard and
dude.
mustache.
Like,
Not the beard, but the
I
mustache.
was like, oh, you look so much like him, and he's like African American. So I was like, was he about
Oh
to
yeah,
get?
they're gonna think you're Chud the
Like,
Builder.
he's totally cool about it, but I was like, at some point, someone's gonna make a mistake, and like, I don't know, hope can diffuse the situation, right? 'Cause it's
Yeah.
definitely not him.
Yeah, dude. It's wild stuff, bro. Right or wrong, dude. The dude has balls. I'll give him that, dude. That's the only like, you know what I mean, bro. But fuck, man.
He is out there for
He's
sure.
fucking dude. Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, guys, y'all have a great day. Great combo,
Yeah.
man. Someone in my chat told me to ask that. I'll see you guys.
All right. Peace.
Peace.